everybody.
I just found the keys to a city. The beats are big and the lights are pretty. So why can't we get to the busy where the dreams are in the sky? You got me high on wonders and why. You got me high, I think I might die. I'm face to face with a mirror. I've never felt so one with another. So why can't it all be clearer? Don't you see the sign? It's not fair. Let me put my fingers through your hair. It's not fair. I'm not full without you there. And there you are. Fa la 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 la. Wish you were a star. Fa la 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 la. Wish we could go far. I just close my eyes and there you are. There you are. Just close my eyes and there you are. I just found the keys to a city. The beats are big and the lights are pretty. So why can't we get to the busy where the dreams are in the sky? You got me high on wonders and why. You got me high, I think I might die. I'm face to face with a mirror. I've never felt so one with another. So why can't it all be clearer? Don't you see the sign? It's not fair. Let me put my fingers through your hair. It's not fair. I'm not full without you there. And there you are. Fa la 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 la. Wish you were a star. Fa la 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 la. Wish we could go far. I just close my eyes and there you are. There you are. Just close my eyes and there you are. There you are. I'm face to face with a mirror. I've never felt so one with another. So why can't it all be clearer? Don't you see the sign? It's not fair. Let me put my fingers through your hair. It's not fair. I'm not full without you there. And there you are. Fa la 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 la. Wish you were a star. Fa la 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 la. Wish we could go far. I just close my eyes and there you are. There you are. Just close my eyes and there you are.
And there we go, folks.
Friday Night Tights! You're about to get frostbitten!
Get him!
Fasten your seatbelts, it's gonna be a bumpy
ride.
All you geeks and gamers better stop jerking off to me, okay? I smell like burnt hair, Julie, but that isn't stopping you. I fuck you like you're retarded because I think you're all retarded. I see the chat, I see you in the chat. Hit an F right now, jerking off to your girl. Frostbitten. Now press F if you're not jerking off. Frostbitten. Friday Night Tights.
Get him!
Frostbitten. Now press F if you're not jerking off. I see the chat. I see you in the chat. Hit an F right now. Jerking off to your girl. I'll wait.
Weird!
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come.
I'm not qualified. Go ahead. Make my day.
Get him!
Call me Beaver Barbie.
Bitch, you're that goddamn ugly.
I jerked off to the dislike ratio.
I'm not hot to you.
No.
No.
What in the heck did I just walk into?
Wow. People keep confusing me for prepubescent Justin Bieber. Someone in the chat called me Eminem mid-transition. Frostbitten. Now press F if you're not jerking off. Frostbitten. Friday Night Tights. Frostbitten. Now press F if you're not jerking off. I see the chat. I see you in the chat. Hit an F right now. Jerking off to your girl. I'm standing up for all the women at G4. Emily, Abby, Megan, Joe, Jake, Zipper, Pockets, Scissors, Tape Dispenser, and Filing Cabinet. X-ray girl, she is a beautiful young Oriental. X-ray girl,
Give me cock. Ask them the price of cock.
X-ray girl. What is this for you to stroke your chopstick to? You don't like it? Go somewhere else. Peace. Right now.
And a good morning, best chat. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the delicious, malicious morning nonsense chat. Welcome back, welcome back. Well, Monday, Tuesday treated you well so far, chat. Now Wednesday. Here we are, chat. Wednesday. Let's see. Get this going on. Here we go. Sure, this is good to go. All right, fantastic. Here we go once again. Back into a chat. Middle of the week, almost there, almost to the weekend, almost to the working for the weekend chat. Let's go. Red Lamar says, good morning, everyone. Don't forget to get your workouts today. Absolutely essential, especially now during the holiday season, right? You're gonna be especially if you're in America, right? Because then we have Thanksgiving coming up, and Thanksgiving is just rehearsal Christmas essentially. So we're gonna go eat fabulous amounts of food, right? We got lots of food, lots and lots of food, and then you're gonna come back home eventually, and then you're gonna come back and do it again on Christmas. So and it's after we just had Halloween. Like Halloween was the end of last month. It's just a couple weeks ago. So everyone, and you did. Everyone gorged on candy. So we're going to have candy, boom, Thanksgiving, and then boom, Christmas again. So it's like 3 sessions of gorging, I guess you could say. So yeah, especially right now, working out a little bit, at least a little bit. Absolutely essential, I'd say. Whoops says, coffee just here. The Saudis are buying Warner Brothers. They're buying everything. I think the times are changing. I think they had major stock in Ubisoft or something like that. I don't know. Tencent is buying up. Rumor is Tencent is buying up Ubisoft. I don't know. It's gonna be kind of strange. Like, okay, yeah, they're not woke, so they're going to be implementing their own viewpoints. But is that better? I'm not sure that's better or not. Well, we'll see though. We'll see. I didn't know that the Saudis did buy Twitter at one point, or had major stake in Twitter at one point. It's Hudsil. Hello to you. Morning, folks. Watched Drinker yesterday go over why movies from the 80s and 90s are so good, unlike movies today. There are no genre-defining movies today unless you like slop. Yeah, they kind of went with mass-produced stuff over well-done individual movies, or stuff they put really good effort into. Let's see, chat. Which one was that? The Running Man one? Let's see. But yeah, I love modern writers either don't work in really strong imagination anymore, where they kind of make really cool movies that kind of define an era. They really don't, or they're told not to, because they kind of we need some mass-produced, easily consumable swill that people can just consume. It seems to be the case. Especially during the binge era that we have been in for quite a while, ever since Netflix came down there with the streaming services. We've been in this binge era, as Brady Snellis would call it, where if people kind of they don't really appreciate each episode. We kind of eat it as a big bite rather than smaller bites, and you just stay in there all day, and you kind of have to in order to keep up with the conversations, right? They drop entire seasons, and you kind of have to binge watch it all at once, or if you don't care about the conversation, you just want to watch it, you're kind of tempted to watch the entire thing because it's available. And so years later, when there's a huge deluge of content that's available for everyone to watch at all times, and not just Netflix, but HBO, Amazon Prime, Hulu, Disney Plus, all this stuff. People have they need to, at first. Bryson Ellis talked about that. I think it was in his book White, or maybe it was during one of his podcasts. I can't remember completely, but he talked about the binge era, And at the beginning, we had been trained already to give our full attention to a TV show. You like sit down, watch a TV show, and give it your full attention. And then you, after the show's over, you get up and go to work, or you take care of some chores, or whatever it is. But during the binge era, that's not really the case anymore. He talked about like how he would do strange things, like sit in bed all day and eat in bed. And he's a gay man, so that's kind of like, no, he can't really do that. That's gross to him. To him, it's gross. But he would stay in bed and then eat in bed and it's watching all these shows all day, just binging them. So that's kind of how we were trained in the beginning. But now years onward, especially with all this gigantic arrival of this overwhelming amounts of content, we have learned not to watch them. We have learned to put them on in the background or put them on the side while we do something else, right? So that's kind of how we've evolved, and that's how a lot of like a whole generation grew up. Just you put something on, and then you do something else while you watch it. We saw this basically. We did see this with the anime men, where they just like put on the first episode of an anime on 2 times speed, and they're on their phones the entire time, right? So this kind of what happens. It's a kind of result of this binge era that we've been in, and so people don't really appreciate each episode. We want to take it one giant bite at a time. We don't really appreciate it. So each episode is kind of more like a small piece as opposed to its own, its own story, its own chapter. A lot of times, and they've kind of restructured things to fit that. So they feel comfortable knowing that each episode doesn't really need to have all that much work into it, or its own identity. I mean, it's just it's going to be one piece of a giant story that needs to end in such a way that it'll get you to watch the next episode. So it's like that. Okay. So it's like they don't really want it's in the best interest not to put so much effort into making these era defining movies, because people probably won't watch it because we have so much this giant deluge of content. They'll put a lot of even if they did make an era defining movie, it's going to be drowned out by this entire like sea of things, of other media, TV shows that's being cranked out. So it's in their best interest to make slop as opposed to put all their heart and soul into like a movie or something, and then no one watches it because it's just being drowned out by a bunch of stuff. So it's tough. Especially even if you do make a genre defining movie or TV show. I mean, it can't really be, even if it has that quality to it, it might not have that power anymore, because you make this gigantic movie that's really cool and really defining, but then it's all around it are these 10,000 other movies, 10,000 other TV shows drowning it out. So it's today it's harder to spot, because back then there wasn't as much, there wasn't an incentive to make as much stuff. Now it'll just drown everything out. Especially, like I said before, years into the binge era, right? In years into the binge era, where we don't really appreciate it anymore. Like we just we've been trained to just do something else. We don't have the time, like in our lives. We just don't have the time to watch all this content. So we eventually evolved into doing something else while we have the new show on in the background. And of course, Netflix and things have evolved to that, adapted to that by having redundant dialogue and things, so that they know that we're just watching in the background now. So they'll have people say things that we can see, or say things that are redundant, so that people who are just listening to the whole thing, to the movie, can understand what's going on. So it's just a big mess. Like, yeah, we have a lot more content now, and it's more convenient. But there's just so much of it that even if we did have a big movie, a big defining movie, it's really hard to notice, and it's unfortunate. So it's like a bunch of factors piling in. Was it the Running Man video? We could watch that. Could be pretty interesting. And see chat. All right, there we go. There we now. Hello to Car Hughes. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hello to you, hello to you. Tikana Ketchel says, good morning, Dev Chat. The reason why modern fantasy sucks is simple. Modern writers have no imagination of their own and must receive periodic updates on the programming. Especially work in the main industries, apparently. today. Let's see. Cara Hughes says, sorry I couldn't make it today. I was feeling rotten. I hope you're feeling better today, Cara Hughes. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Always glad to have you. Let's see. Kyle the Vampire God says, morning, mortals. Hello to you, Kyle the Vampire God. Davina Duckworth says, good morning, good morning, good morning. Carlos Batista says, good morning, LD and Best Check. Hello to you, hello to you. Let's see. Aries Force says, up LD and Best Chat. I'm running on fumes this morning, so I'll leave my thoughts on to this. I reserve the right not to care about the discourse, quote unquote, on social media. I'm tired, autistic, leave me alone. I think we've all been there before. Let's see. Limp Bizkit says this was not the intro I was expecting, LD. I know. I mean, I gotta switch it up every once in a while. Good morning, good morning. It's a good Lamar says, yeah, I'm back on diet mode for the holidays to counter the awful eating I'll be partaking in. Very good counterbalance. Very good counterbalance. Well done, Grillamar. Well done. And that allows you to eat more stuff, right? You get to gorge a little bit more. Fantastic. All right, chat. Let's see. Because Yogi said, I have no interest in seeing Superman in Arab robes. Me neither. And hearing him spout pro-Islam, that ideal better not go through. Wonder if the government will even allow that. I don't know. I guess it depends on who's in charge. I'm pretty sure the Democrats are in charge. Democrats are very pro wiping out American culture. They want to trade in American culture for whatever culture's coming in. Their favorite culture right now is Islam for some reason. I don't know why that is, but they keep importing Islam third worlders into our country and then celebrating their culture over our own. So I don't know why it's the case, but if the Republicans are in charge, they're way more like pro-America for the most part. Democrats are in charge. Yeah, we have no other choice than to say goodbye to our own culture. So I guess it all depends. The Democrats will definitely love to see Superman in spouting Islam and everything. Definitely would like to see that. They probably would too. The DC writers probably like Islam Superman. Probably a big event. They probably make it a big event. Superman sees like his parents are evil and wrong or something like that. The Kents, like they're misguided people, and he's like, oh, and then there'll be like a big event where Superman embraces Islam. I can see that being the case, and they'll try to make it canon, a piece of canon that sticks. Let's see, chat. Dr. Crow, good morning, LD and Bishop. Saw a dude on a motor scooter weaving in and out of traffic, pedestrians on the sidewalk crashing into a parking meter. I laughed. Today is a good day. That's kind of funny. Let's see. Hello to you, Evanar. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hello to you. On Urberkun, hello to you. On Urberkun says, I think it's a combination of not people having time and shows running forever. Yeah, the show's running forever as well. Just like 7 seasons. Each one's like an hour long, and then there's a bunch of them. And you kind of want to see a select few of them, but there's a lot of them. There's a ton of them. Which is why when I watched Last Samurai Standing, I was grateful that it's only 6 episodes. I got to watch it all in maybe like a day. It wasn't that bad. It was like 6 hours, and it was really intriguing and really cool. I kind of liked it quite a bit. So Last Samurai Standing was pretty interesting. And there's only 6 episodes. Let's see. Let's see, chat. Ashford Plague says, how was there an 80% like the stream? At that ratio, is it even there? Yes. Let's see. As Yogi says, we're living in this brain rot age. That's a point of turning on a show and not even watching it. It's just a waste of electricity. I guess you can listen to it. That's the idea. Like you turn it on, listen to it, and then do something else. Because a lot of people just don't have time to watch all of these shows, and that's kind of what we've evolved into. And see. Great night says, good morning, Literature Devil and Best Chat. John Solo has a video on messed up origins of Wicked. It's pretty good. He also has a video about messed up origins of Freddy Krueger. I said origins of Freddy Krueger. That's interesting. Let's see. Make a thought. Hello to you. Happy Wednesday. Hello to you, Mr. Self-Destruct. Hello to you. Woo, LD. Hello to you, Mr. Self-Destruct. Good morning. Good morning. And see, chat. Let's see. All right. Let's see here. Got this fantastic, ready to go. Awesome. Well, let's check this out. Is it the Running Man one? I wonder if it's the Running Man one because it's like a remake. At first, before we get to that chat, I thought this was pretty funny. I found this video and that was pretty funny. Hold on 1 second here. I was like, first of all, I was like, how does a man's testosterone get this low? How is that possible? How does a testosterone level? It's like negative testosterone. It makes no sense. How does this happen?
It's vegan because it's strawberry milk and not like cow milk. You know what I mean?
I'm not sure if that's a troll or not, but in this era, I can't tell. Do they really think that there's a you can milk a strawberry?
Did he say fucking vegan milk?
Show me the fucking udder on a strawberry.
Is this the shit you guys do every Sunday?
Yeah.
Basically.
Where you going?
I'm done with fucking internet. I got shit.
What?
It's just show me the udder on the strawberry. Yeah, how do you milk a strawberry? How does one milk a strawberry? Let's see. All right, chat. All right. Well, let's get to this now. I would assume it would be this one that Hutz will watch. So let's check this out. The Critical Drinker going over Running Man. Let's see how it goes.
Once went on a lad's holiday in Barcelona, and in theory it sounded like an absolutely blinding weekend. We were in a beautiful city with free reign to do whatever we wanted, we had plenty of spending money and a bunch of fun stuff lined up. And you know what? It was a disaster. One of our guys had his passport stolen within like an hour of arriving and had to spend half the weekend at the British Embassy trying to sort it out. Another decided to crash a go-kart into a wall at full speed and fractured 2 of his ribs. And a third man went completely AWOL on the first night and didn't show up again until the following afternoon. And it wasn't even me. Also, it turned out that one of our group was a bit too fond of the old Bolivian marching powder, which was just superb when he decided to have a fist fight with his bathroom mirror at 4 in the morning and almost got us all arrested. The point I'm making here is that sometimes things that look...
What kind of group did you go with? What is this group that you're with?
Good on paper turn out to be complete disasters in practice. Like The Running Man, for example, a remake of the 1980s Arnold Schwarzenegger movie that promised to be a faithful adaptation of the Stephen King novel it was based on, written and directed by Edgar Wright, a man who gave us the legendary Cornetto trilogy, and starring Glenn Powell, a charismatic leading man who's rapidly moving into A-list territory. When you've got so many positives on your side, what could possibly go wrong? Well, everything, as it turns out. The Running Man is a fucking calamity of a movie, slow and boring with all the pace and dynamism of a Chris Stuckman review, a convoluted and meandering storyline that leads to the most rushed and anticlimactic ending imaginable, dogshit level dialogue, an emotional tone that can't decide if it's a gripping thriller or a goofy comedy, and a protagonist with all the depth and charisma of a puddle of congealed vomit. This movie somehow
doesn't sound good.
Manages to be inferior to the 1987 original in every possible way, and honestly, I can't believe it was made by the same guy who gave us Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead. Anyway, somehow I endured it so you don't have to. The least you can do in return is listen to me explain why you shouldn't. So just like the original movie, The Running Man takes place in a dystopian future America, where the mostly impoverished population is ruled over by sinister megacorporations who keep them distracted with violent and sensationalized TV shows, the biggest of which is The Running Man. The rules are simple. Actually, no, fuck that. They're not simple at all. They certainly used to be because the 80s...
Reminds me of the dilemma with Death Race. Remember that? So the original Death Race was also pretty cool. I think it was the original one with like Stallone and everything, where each car was kind of wacky. Like each car had its own identity and everything. And Stallone was like the machine gun guy or the Tommy gun guy or something. It was cool. It was pretty violent. It had a lot of nudity in there, I guess. So people, it was like a titillation style movie. But it was also really fun to watch because it had so much personality in it. It was kind of funny and things. It was still violent, but very funny as well. And then later on, they kind of redid Death Race in like a more gritty, serious aspect. I mean, it's still a little bit goofy, but it's not the same style of goofy. It's like everyone's a sociopath kind of goofy. So it was kind of cool, I guess, but I don't know, it didn't have the charm of the original, which is like almost superhero campy goofy, I guess you could say. You watch the Happy Hour. Okay, that's what it was. The Happy Hour. I know that's stream, I think. So I guess I'll look into that. Let's see. Chase the go-kart. Oh, maybe that was that. It was like he went with the Friday Night Tights people. Someone got really into cocaine. It's a because every studio has a sizable amount of debt. Disney has a 47 billion. Wow. And Universal Comcast has $80 billion of debt. That 32 billion is a sizable decrease from the 59 billion they were holding. I guess they're paying it off. And Tikara Hughes says you should try dealing with people who suffer from Jerusalem syndrome. I had firsthand experience of this many years ago. I was in Israel from with a Bible group. I can see that being the case. And see, David Woods says, "Good morning, LD in chat. I see we're watching reacting to some more critical content. Yes, I approve. I've only seen Drinker's vid, but the race swap wife and kids were first red flag. Race swap wife and kids. Let's see, chat. Oh, by the way, let me see here. Fantastic. Okay, by the way, I do plan on having like an extra watch along on Twitch today, but it won't be Full Metal Alchemist because we didn't really make it last week. We didn't get the required amount of Pillarman and stuff. But I'm thinking about doing something else because I can't really watch Full Metal Alchemist because I think that'd be disrespectful for the people who do donate for that purpose. So, I think we'll watch something else instead, but of my choosing this time. So, but if you do want to continue on and join me anyway, I do plan on having a stream later. So we'll see how that goes. I'll decide what to watch.
7 movie understood the importance of pace and urgency and given the audience a simple objective to focus on. Not so this time. This time, runners have to survive for 30 days on the loose in America. They're given some spending money and a 12-hour head start, and that's it. The catch is that they're not just being hunted by professional killers like in the original movie. Now their real enemy is the entire country. Anyone who spots them can either kill them or turn them in for a cash reward. Also, they have to send in a tape every day through a
They seem like a lot of fun. I feel like the fun would be the killers going after them. Not really like they could just get killed by anybody. Wouldn't in most cases lead to an instant death? Like just they walk out and die.
magical bullshit Dropbox system to prove that they're still alive. Enter our main man, Ben Richards, a blue-collar worker with money problems who needs medicine for his sick daughter, so he signs up for the games and soon finds himself competing in the Running Man. But before you can say, "I'll be back," his cover gets blown and a kill team moves in to take him out. He barely makes it out alive, but the team are accidentally killed by a gas explosion, and the tape that Richards...
I'm not sure it's going to be ultra-violent anime, but I think it will be anime. I think it will be in the anime sphere. We'll see how it goes.
Sends in afterwards to explain what happened, gets deepfake to frame him for the whole thing. Slowly, he begins to realize the game is rigged against him. There's no way to win, and it's...
What do you mean realize? What do you mean realize the game is rigged against you? The premise is that the whole you don't you know that the whole country can kill it? The whole country being able to kill you instead of just the killers sounds pretty rigged to me from the get-go. How is it more rigged than that?
It's all just being manipulated by the network's corrupt director, Dan Killian, to drive up the show's ratings. Faced with a game he's never going to be allowed to win, Richards decides to stop running and go on the offensive, making contact with an underground resistance group that are trying to expose the whole thing, and sets his sights on Killian himself. But will he finally get his revenge, or is there another twist planned for him? Like I said earlier, most of the right elements were in place to make the Running Man a success. A desperate man forced to risk everything, the paranoia of being surrounded by enemies and hunted every moment of your life, a race against time to stay alive, a sinister corporation willing to lie and kill and sacrifice their own people, all in the name of money and ratings, a plucky underdog fighting his way through a game that's been rigged against him and gradually winning over public support, even taking the fight to his enemies by the end. All of that sounds great. The problem is, it's been done already and far better in the 1987 movie. And I'm not trying to defend the Arnold flick as some classic of modern cinema or anything, but it was at least a serviceable story with a novel premise and decent pacing that actually had something to say about the violence, greed, and sensationalism of American entertainment at the time, worked in a decent cast of interesting characters that all fit neatly into the plot, and even delivered a satisfying payoff for the hero and villain. And it did all of this in a lean and mean 101 minutes. The 2025 version does none of those things. It's over 30 minutes longer, but it somehow accomplishes less. The plot is flabby and disjointed, meandering from one uninspired set piece to another, and held together by a series of ridiculous conveniences that crop up whenever the writers have backed themselves into a corner. 3 different times in this movie,
I wonder if we could do like one viewing where we watch both movies like back to back. It'd be kind of fun.
Richards has to be bailed out by some good Samaritan who turns out to be connected with the resistance in some way. Wow, that was lucky, wasn't it? And all of this leads to a major problem with pacing. There's absolutely no sense of urgency to any of this movie, and part of that problem stems from the pointlessly extended time frame. Why stretch this plot out over 30 days when you're not actually going to do anything with those 30 days? It could just as easily be 24 hours and it would make for a much more interesting story. Normally I champion movies that respect the source material, but when the source material comes from the drug-addled mind of...
It's weird that Stephen King has made like some of the most defining stories, though. Like it's like you've watched this cool movie, and it's like, whoa, that was a Stephen King story. I remember having that reaction many times.
Stephen King, and you're trying to turn it into a fast-paced action thriller. Well, changes are going to have to be made. Like, remember when Stanley Kubrick adapted The Shining and changed like 50% of the book to produce one of the greatest horror movies of all time, and Stephen King was so butthurt about it that he made his own version a decade later that followed the book to the...
Kubrick is like it's like one artist meeting another artist, and Kubrick was a perfectionist. He was kind of crazy in the way that an artist is kind of crazy. I'm pretty sure that my artist Nick Axe is like, yeah, you're crazy, because I like this obsessive with these little details and things. I want. Also, I might have to change the title Lady Midnight, because while it is distinct from these other things, I found something else called Lady Midnight. While it is distinct from that book, very distinct, it SEO wise, it might get drowned out, So I was like, she's not really called Lady Midnight. Like she's not really called Lady at any point. She's not a noble person. Like she's not like of nobility. So I was like, maybe if I could just call her Midnight, but I might need like another like an adjective or something like that to make it safe title wise. Because people just call her Midnight. She's not really. No one calls her Lady Midnight. See, the intent to call her Lady Midnight was because she used to be called Sister Midnight when she was in the coven. And so the lady part kind of came in as an aspect of freedom. Like that meant that she was her own person. Like she's no longer a sister of the coven. She is Lady Midnight, her own person. And that was elevated from the aspect of slavery or mental slavery, where she was like, indoctrinated to the coven and, attached to these evil people. Something like that. So when she was off the dark path, when she was off that path, when she was free of their influence, and then set on her own path of redemption that she herself chose, that was going to be an aspect of it, where she's no longer Sister Midnight, she was Lady Midnight. But no one really calls her that. I could still have that in there. So I was like, maybe Detective Midnight. The first thing I thought was like Detective Midnight. I'm not really sure if I could do that. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see. Yeah, so pretty sure but the idea of Stephen King and Kubrick kind of clashing was kind of interesting, because Kubrick is the alpha Chad in that scenario. I'm pretty sure Kubrick would dominate Stephen King in every single aspect. And so Kubrick is like a no nonsense insane person when it comes to his art, like completely dedicated to making the vision that he needs the film to be. It's pretty interesting. Let's see, Golden Reaper, thanks for the $5 super chat. Says, I late you cool ninjas. What's up? Ninjas. Hello to you, Golden Reaper. Hello to you. Thanks for the $5 super chat. Hello to you. Let's see. Where are we now? Get one of these. Yes. Thank you very much, Golden Reaper. Hello to you, Miss Midnight. I don't know. I was thinking about if there's anything detective. That may be too basic. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'll give it some thought. Let's see. The lady part in the title almost started to bother me anyway. So we'll see how it goes. I was thinking about ideally just call it midnight. I might need an adjective like the mysterious midnight or something like that, like they do in the superhero stuff. Well, I'll look at other stuff. I'll look at some other things. Heck, maybe I just call it the title. You know, I'll call it Devil's Dwell in Silent Springs, a Lady Midnight mystery. You know how they do that with detective novels, like a Study in Scarlet, Sherlock Holmes mystery, or the murder on the Orient Express, a Hercule Poirot mystery. You know, something like that. I mean, I might do that. I'm not really sure. I might be better to go with the title of you know, the character name for a comic series, but I guess we'll see. Yeah, PI, maybe it's possible. Whoa, inexorable improvisation. Wow, it's for cheap viewers on Streamboo. Fantastic. I'll look into that. Definitely look into that. Could you make Lady Midnight? Maybe it's possible, but I need to change the couldn't you make Lady Midnight the nickname everyone else calls her? It's possible, but I kind of need to change the title because there is something else already out there called Lady Midnight. It is distinct enough for it's not going to be a copyright issue. It's SEO wise and confusion wise. I would like to avoid that. And again, the lady part of Lady Midnight isn't all that important. Not on the grand scheme of things, because now especially now that she's more of a detective than she was in her original inception, when she was kind of like a Constantine kind of clone. So I don't know. I'll give it some thought. We'll see how it goes. Let's see. Don't lose the tight pants. Yeah, I think it's gonna get tighter, in fact. It's yeah, behind the scenes, the shooting The Shining was interesting because he just tortured people. He's tortured the actors. But so when they are insane, when they're acting insane, they are being driven insane. It's a
letter, and it was a fucking disaster. Well, then you begin to realize that what works in a book doesn't always work on screen.
It's Dr. Crow. The Zeus is a Detective Boobs, a actual boob mystery. I'm not sure that's going to work. Her name isn't Boobs, so now if her name was Boobs, that might be good. I think that'd be kind of funny for like a parody mystery. Detective, I don't know, Melody Boobs or something. Or no, wait, like something with a B, like Bethany Boobs, like Detective Bethany Boobs, like something like that. That'd be kind of cool with alliteration. And say. Ryan Lopez, what's so detective with some magic use? Yeah, so here's a little rundown.
It began with the suicide of Charles Blackwell, then the Rhineswan family massacre. 3 generations painfully passing from this world, crying the same crimson tears Blackwell had. After that, the media finally gave their murderer a name: the Red Crier Killer. But despite it all, evil can be conquered. If you ever find yourself lost in the dark, I'll lead you home. If your heart is gripped by fear, I'll comfort you. If justice eludes you, I'll find it. So sleep well, Orb City. And while you dream, I'll keep the monsters away.
And there we go. And someone pointed out why she came up as a girl boss. And I was like, when someone mentioned it, I was like, oh, it's so obvious. That's why. Because look, she's smirking on the cover. And that's like the defining trait of a modern day millennial girl boss thing. It's always the smirk. I have a thing called Smirk Alert. So I was like, I should have known that. I should have caught on to that. So does Lady Midnight wear the nun outfit as superhero costume, or was that just a comic cover variant? Oh, it's a jacket. So like she has a robe thing that she got from her coven. Like it's her coven jacket that she wears as a detective coat. You know, like everyone has a detective coat kind of thing. Like Columbo has one, Sherlock Holmes has one. That's her detective coat, which she got from her coven, which actually has spells in it to help protect her. So it's basically like armor, essentially. So that's kind of how that goes. But there is a segment that I've talked about before, that a faction in the city called the Sisterhood. No, the Sisters of Eternal Repose, which is a faction of the Catholic Church. It's a sub section of nuns, I guess you could say, sisters, who are part of the Catholic Church, and they have the origins in Europe during the Black Plague, where people were dying left and right, right? So their whole thing was that they would come bless bodies. They would come bless bodies with their special prayers and everything, which is why they're called the Sisters of Eternal Repose. And they would make the bodies immune to necromancy. So no necromancer can come up and raise the bodies from the dead. Because if you have a bunch of people dying all at once, it's like, ants to a picnic with necromancy. So they started over there, the faction of that particular organization or segment of the sisterhood under the Catholic Church. They're nuns. They specialize in warding off a particular sort of evil, and they have a different twist to them too, where it requires a lot of dedication to actually use this prayer and have it work. But their main purpose was to ward away evil and become defenders of the hearth, essentially. So they while other guys, the men would go off and fight bad guys, their job was to stay home and watch over the people of every nation. And so they would pray over the bodies of the recently dead, especially if they died from the plague, to make them immune from necromancy. That was the kind of idea. So there is a faction in there. It's not going to be in the first story, but that they do exist in things. So so faith, there are gods and there are special powers, the religion exists, God exists and everything. It is a very powerful entity. Vampires are warded off by the cross, not because of the retarded right angle thing, which is stupid. That's the stupidest thing I ever heard of. It's actually because of faith. It's actually because of a strong, powerful faith. That's what wards off vampires and other nightbreed and things. So there's a big mythology and everything put together. A lot of cool things to explore in the world. But for now, I'm setting up the new campaign. It's just been a pain because the new requirement for Indiegogo is not just give them all your information. I also have to give them a little paper, which I've gotten. So it would be approved by now, but I need a little extra paper, which I got. So hopefully it'll be approved by Friday. But once that's done, I should be able to start collecting signatures this time. Some build up to the actual launch. So lots of things going on. I've switched over the cover. So we're going to do a little twist with this, because one thing we've gotten feedback on from Lady Midnight thing was the value, because it is black and white, and it's thematically black and white, but it's black and white nonetheless. Kind of like, intentionally annoying is still annoying. Black and white is still black and white, even if it's thematically black and white. So what we've decided to do, and we're thinking of doing, right? What we're thinking of doing is we're going to make everything hardcover. So there won't be a soft cover version of this. It's all going to be hardcover at $25 plus shipping. That's the idea that we're playing around with. So maybe we could do that. Maybe we can go with that to make up for the fact that it's not going to be colored on the inside. It's going to be black and white. So that's one thing we're playing around with. Let's see. Golden Reaper looks at $10 super chat. Thank you very, very much. Appreciate it. Let me see here. Let's see. In my goddess, you gave people red flags, and I didn't even know it. That's funny. Remember, that's why I don't watch girls in media with tattoos for preference and unattractiveness. Try not to make red flags. Yeah, it's good. So the tattoo thing, I still don't understand. I just don't understand. Okay, so maybe some tattoos are kind of weird, like the cute little ones. But if they go like sleeves or something like that, okay, that makes sense. I was so tempted to give Lady Midnight tattoos, but it just didn't fit. But yeah, I was like, someone pointed out, I didn't catch it. I was like, why is everyone saying she's a girl boss? And there's something about the cover that gave it away, and I should have caught it. It was my fault. I should have caught it. I should have known. Me of all people could have caught on to this, because I have like hashtag Smirk Alert, and yeah, it's the smirk. Obviously, like, oh, that was so obvious. So I pointed out, like, that's why it just clicked. Like, oh, yeah, I understand. Yeah, I'm going to add in a spot color. It's going to be black and white with red spot color. And then hardcover. Everyone, I think all of them would be hardcover. I think. And see, Chad. Maybe Brilliant Midnight. We'll see how it goes. I think I want something that'll fit thematically as well. Detective sounds like Detective Conan, Detective Midnight. That's my first thought. Let's see. Yeah, tattoos keep demons at bay. Now the idea is that she's eventually going to need a companion that specializes in rune magic. But demons. So her coat actually has like runes in it. Or inscriptions in it that help protect her, so she wears that a lot of times. And see, I don't think the smirk is a big deal, but give it a try. Thank God you didn't give her tattoos, though. Yeah, I didn't. She doesn't have any. But I've been looking into things that turn people off. So I'm going to go with the hardcover picture this time around, which is the painting that people liked for the main artistic push, the main artistic image. And then we're thinking about doing just hardcover, no soft cover, just hardcover options. Okay. And then and it's going to still be the same price, like, the 25 plus shipping. And then spot color, red spot color on the interiors. So that's kind of where we're heading now. And I'm thinking about doing a name change from Lady Midnight to Midnight, Devil's Dwell in Silent Springs, something like that. So see how it goes. Maybe I'll change the series name, but we'll see. I'm just tossing around ideas here. Mystical Midnight sounds pretty good. Mysterious Midnight. So my first idea was Mysterious Midnight. Like that's the one I would probably go with. The mysterious Midnight, something like that. But we'll see. Let's see. All right. Emo says Inspector Spectre. Actually, not like Inspector Gadget, I think. Well, the thing is, there are other occult detectives in the city other than her. There are others. In fact, I was going to put like a guy in there who was like he'd be the type of inspector, or he'd be the type of supernatural investigator who does think that vampires are worded away by right angles and not religion. and then later on he learns that it's not the right angles, actually is the power of God that wards him away. So because the thing is, part of how this system works is that you could definitely be a person who knows and how to chant the spells and everything, but one thing you have to do in this universe to be able to actually cast magic, one of the things is not the only thing, but one of the things is you actually, despite how evil you are, you actually do have to believe in God, because you have to believe in the greatest good in order to gain access to darker magic. Like you have to, in order to be able to believe and use the power of darker magic, you have to also embrace the fact that there is a greater good out there. So, and then the other way around too, you have to be able to, you can't believe in hell without believing in God. That's a big part of it. So, and it goes everywhere else too, the other aspects of it too. You have to be able to believe in the greater good, acknowledge greater good in order to access greater evil. That's kind of the balancing thing there. Yeah, it's actual faith. Like there's actual faith there. There actually is the power of religion is actually an effective thing, because the power of evil is also an effective thing in this universe. A lot of the modern day creators, a lot of modern day writers don't like this aspect where it's like they definitely want hell to be a thing, but they don't want God to be a thing. But you have to have both. Like you have to have the counterbalance there. Greater good, greater evil. They both have to kind of be there. Let's see, chat. Let's see. While also having the ideal of Lovecraft in there. So the ideal of Lovecraft is that humanity, because normally, you know, a lot of modern day writers today love the idea that humanity is distinctly evil, right? They love the idea that if humanity just didn't exist, then the world would be perfect. Okay, that's kind of what they like to write about. That like, you know, the Matrix has like humanity is a parasite, Mr. Anderson. That's kind of what a lot of modern writers tend to write about. That humanity is evil. You know, you get this on the zombie movies and shows that humanity is evil. And, you know, humanity does have evil in it, but the Lovecraft idea is that the entire universe is either uncaring or evil or beyond good and evil. And one of the main creators of kindness, good faith, and delight and goodness is humanity. So humanity is like the one harbor of kindness and goodness in the universe, in this uncaring universe. So that's also an aspect of Lady Midnight, the idea that humanity is overall the harbor of goodness, the harbor of kindness. And so that kind of feeds all into, it's all connected. It's all connected. Let's see, Chad. Would you like to? Sounds like more that your beliefs focus will to allow the person to shape the world around you. Yeah, it's all about, you know, mental strength. That's kind of what magic is, right? Like culturally, like, you know, in D&D, it's about intellect. It's about it's about charisma. It's about belief. It's about the power, the strength of your. So like when a sorcerer casts magic, right, in D&D, it's about the strength of their own character. The strength of their character is so powerful that they can just cast magic at will. A wizard can, you know, intellectually, they learn how the magic of the world works, and so they can cast it through knowledge of it. While sorcerers cast it through strength of character. They're so strong in their own belief and their own character that they can just cast spells. I think what a druid does is off wisdom or something like that. So there's different ways to do it, but depending on your approach. But but it always requires a strong portion of yourself. Like you know how to manipulate things around you. You're such a strong, charismatic person. You can believe in your character so much. You have so much confidence. You can just like wield spells. But one of the first things you have to do is acknowledge the aspects, the reality of the universe, which is there's ultimate good, there's ultimate evil, and that there is a natural flow to things. We have to be able to acknowledge this and open that up to yourself. You can't just be like an atheist or something like that and expect it to work. It's kind of like the one idea of like using the cross to ward away vampires. Like in a lot of media, it's like all you need is the cross and they go away, right? Which they can work, but in some aspects, it's like you show them the cross and it won't work unless you have actual faith in that symbol. So that's also an aspect here too. Like it's about faith. Not necessarily that Catholicism is the only religion. It's about your faith. So if you do believe in another religion that wards away evil, your faith, it must be strong enough in that religion and that symbol to ward away evil. So it's not just about one religion overall. It's about your faith and how that faith and power, that ultimate good empowers you, that sort of thing. And see. So it's a wisdom check. Yeah. So so in order for magic to be used, you have to acknowledge, it's kind of the first step is to acknowledge that there's ultimate good and ultimate evil, and that there's a natural flow to the universe and things like that. You have to be open up to that. And then second of all, there must be something about you that's strong enough to actually use magic. It's kind of like in your like when you're working out, right? Like you may in the beginning, you can't lift like 50s or whatever. You can't lift 100 pounds, or you can't deadlift 100 something pounds, but then you work your way up to it. So being able to use magic at all, you essentially have to, you know, this scenario, you have to deadlift 150 pounds. It's kind of you can practice and you can believe in all that stuff. You can acknowledge the greater good and the greater evil. But you have to work your way up to be able to deadlift, like, in this scenario, make 150 pounds at the very least. So there must be something strong about your character, strong enough to manipulate these things and to to manipulate the magic in the world around you. And then also you have to be able to train your magical energies and be able to manipulate it. So there's a lot that goes into it. But there's a system in place. Let's see.
Green. And the thing,
but here we go. No, I'm not personally, but in order to build the world, I had to look into this stuff. In order to build the world, I wanted to look into how this all affects each other, how things work, what they believe in. They've always been a fan of horror, so I've had that influence as well. So
is I expected so much more from Edgar Wright, who used to be a master of high energy, rapid editing, and razor sharp dialogue. Movies like Hot Fuzz are some of the leanest, most efficient scripts you'll ever read, and watching The Running Man, I just can't understand how it came from the same person. Richards just...
I will say that I'm not into the cult, I am into culture. And a lot of this stuff comes from culture. So, for example, one faction in this universe are the monster hunters called the woodcutters, and the reason why that is because the woodcutters come from the woodcutters as an organization in the Lady Midnight universe. The organization that hunts monsters originates in Germany, and the reason why it originates in Germany is because that's where fairy tales come from. Fairy tales, and Germany is the birthplace of fairy tales. That's kind of the common acceptance. So that's why I based the woodcutters, where they come from. And the idea here is that in the beginning, there would be villages, and they would send their men off to go cut wood, cut lumber in groups and everything. And they would come back with the wood so that they can light their fires and stuff like that. But they would eventually run into these obstacles, which were werewolves. And it would be these woodcutters that encountered them the first time, that they were the first to encounter them. Because the werewolves hunt in the woods, and they're over there cutting trees down in the woods. So eventually they started to adapt. They couldn't run away. They started to adapt, and they eventually found out that silver hurts the werewolves, and so they coated their axes in silver. So they would go out there and they would hunt the werewolf, and they would kill them with the axes. And so eventually this evolved into an organization called the Woodcutters. And so their traditional weapon became the axe. So they eventually evolved into hunting monsters. They were really good at it after a while. And so eventually mentors started teaching the young woodcutters how to fight werewolves. And that eventually evolved into a full-blown dedicated organization to fight monsters, witches, vampires, things like that. So it's not about me being into the cult. It's more about I love culture and love looking into different cultures and the history of culture, the development of culture. So I do like that. I do like that quite a bit. Let's see. Let's see, chat. All right, here we go.
Kind of drifts from one place to another. There's way too much downtime and lengthy exposition scenes, mostly telling us stuff that we...
Whoa, we just jumped in viewership. I thought like talking about Lady Midnight would drive people away. I know Lady Midnight and like the development of the story for a long time. I didn't know. We just jumped in viewership quite a bit. I thought people would go away after we started talking about that, but interesting.
Either know or suspected already, but in the least efficient way possible. There's none of the sharp, witty dialogue you'd expect from Edgar Wright. Everything's so clunky and on the nose that it felt like a movie made for preschoolers, where characters have to keep reminding the audience of what's happening and why. Richards himself explains about a dozen times that he's going to do anything to save his family, as if that wasn't obvious enough already from his actions. On that subject, Richards is a completely wasted character. The script can't decide if he's a loving and compassionate family man pushed into a desperate gamble out of sheer necessity, or an angry anti-authoritarian who wants to tear down the system and destroy anyone who gets in his way. So it tries to juggle them both, and the end result is a character who meanders as much as the plot he's stuck in. I really feel bad for Glenn Powell on this one.
I do kind of want to see both of these movies, like back to back. It'd be pretty interesting. I haven't seen the new one yet. And hello to Lady Fastalot. Hello to you. Good morning, Ellie and Beshad. What did I miss? I just went down the entire rabbit hole, Lady Midnight, and how it was developing and stuff. The new campaign, what the new campaign is going to be like. The fact that I found, like, someone pointed out that why the cover read as Girl Boss that I didn't catch and I should have, which was the smirk. And she has on that she has on, like, oh man, I should have caught that. But then I wouldn't, and then I might want to change the title from Lady Midnight to maybe just Midnight or Detective Midnight or something like that, because there's another book out there that has a title Lady Midnight. So I want to see how that goes. I'm just making these changes. But let's see here. Yeah, Ryan Lopez says, yeah, weird people love world building and good stories. Turns out. Yeah, absolutely. Turns out. But yeah, so there's a lot more stuff in there. It's only the surface of everything. Like the rule of curses. The curse is always like a punishment that you get for breaking essentially a magical contract. And so that there's that. There's this whole idea about the Crowley Battalion, because in real life during World War II, Aleister Crowley worked for the British government against the Nazis, and he teamed up with Ian Fleming, which is the guy that wrote James Bond. And they had a real life mystical mission that ended up having a Nazi ranking officer just kind of like leave in the middle of the night or something like that, and with a bunch of documents, and he just flew to Britain. So people are saying, like, did that happen because of their rituals or something like that? Because I don't know. It's one of those things, those mysteries from World War II. But in this universe, he made the Crowley Battalion, which were like a man-made vampires. They were supposed to go out there and fight bad guys, and so or fight Nazis. But they're still around. Some of them are still around, and there might be a mystery involving the Crowley Battalion. So many different things. Midnight Detective sounds cool. Midnight Detective. That sounds pretty cool, actually. Oh yeah, definitely. That'd be pretty fun. Hit Hutzel, get some animation done. I think I'm going to go ahead and get at least 2 more pages done, and for references and stuff like that. So let's see how that goes.
He's got a ton of likability and charisma as an actor, but it has to be used in the right way, and this movie isn't it. He looks lost most of the time, trying to get to grips with a character that makes no sense, reciting the cringy dialogue without much conviction, and generally feeling like a complete waste of talent. And it's not like he's surrounded by big personalities either. The hunters from the original flick were this rogues gallery of larger-than-life characters that totally fit with the movie's violent game show theme. They all had their own weapons, personalities, and style, and they felt like bosses in a video game that had to be overcome, but there's absolutely none of that here. The hunters are just generic soldiers with nothing to them, and again, I can't believe what a wasted opportunity this was for a guy like Edgar Wright.
It's something that happened with Death Race. Like the first Death Race had like every racer had a big personality, their own car. Then later Death Races is kind of like everyone gets like the same car or something, and it's all like the same except for the characters. They're just all psychos except for the main guy, I think.
Even the character of Amber from the original movie, who was right there beside Richards for most of the film and went from a hostage to a reluctant ally to a romantic lead by the end, doesn't even show up in this version until like the final 30 minutes. And even then, the film gives her nothing to do. She's just a hostage, and then she literally gets ejected from the movie, and that's it. I hate to keep coming back to the Arnold movie, but honestly, everything this version gets wrong about the story, characters, pacing, world building, and setup, that film absolutely got right. And I'm beginning to think it actually deserves a bit more respect than it got. Either way though, you should take my advice and run as far away from this shitty remake as you can. Save your money, save your time, and save your sanity, and go watch something more enjoyable, like a fucking exorcism.
Which is a Lady Midnight title, and the Nun Covets gave me the mistaken idea that it was a superhero comic. The detective clothes were her day clothes, and the nun outfit was her hero. Oh, okay. It'll make it more like a latent or more, more clear, I think. I think you could make it more clear.
Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Go away now. There it goes. All right, chat. And now, let's get down to business. What do we got here? What do we have here? This fantastic. Everything is lined up perfectly, I think. Here we go. So this is way longer. So let's go with the real reason modern fantasy is so disappointing. Let's check it out. See what this guy has to say. This is a little bit shorter video than the victimhood status. So let's check this out.
Flaw that kills more modern fantasy stories than any other, and that is creative cowardice. After analyzing countless fantasy stories, I can tell you this pattern is everywhere and has resulted in a flood of copycat stories that are too afraid to become something unique. So in this video, I'll show you why this risk-averse storytelling fails, and more importantly, how you can arm your own work with the thematic conviction it needs to feel truly alive. Now, to understand why so many modern fantasy stories feel shallow, we first have to understand the world they are born into. The problem is not always a lack of talent from the individual writers or creators. The true culprit is the cultural and economic ecosystem that prioritizes infinite expansion over finite meaning. I call it the content verse play. Let me make this tangible.
Aha! He's going the same argument I did, the content verse thing. So let's check it out.
For you. Imagine you're planning a grand journey. In the old model of storytelling, you'd be giving a compass, pointing to a single magnetic destination, a thematic North Star, so to speak. The journey might be perilous, the path unclear, but the destination gives the entire track purpose because every step is measured against that ultimate goal. In the content verse, however, you are handed something different. Here you get a GPS with infinite side quests. This GPS presents a map of a vast, meticulously rendered world filled with countless points of interest, branching paths, and potential sequels, prequels, and spin-offs. You can wander this world forever, and that is precisely the point. The journey has no final destination, only endless, algorithmically suggested detours. While you did receive a map, it never leads you anywhere meaningful. And that is exactly the core of the problem. Now, this is not just me. Industry analysts too point to franchise economics and platform incentives as drivers for IP-first storytelling. You can check out Harvard's business review on how Marvel systemized this approach as an example. What appears to be a golden age of fantasy production is in reality a system that incentivizes thematic cowardice. Let me break down the logic of how this system.
Let's see. Sharping Trunk says it's like modern attempts at heroism. If you can't believe in the fantastic, you can't write fantasy. It's true, and they don't have the capacity, it seems, because every time they do try to write fantasy, it just becomes the modern era. It just becomes current year. It's like they try to write fantasy, but it's just like, oh, here's a modern day social issue. It's not even like tied into like a fantastical like version of it. It's just like the elves are trying to take our jobs. Kind of thing. It's like it's very blatant. They have no imagination. Like we have people today with no imagination writing fantasy, and it's crazy. And we get this garbage fantasy.
Operates. First, we have the economic driver, the franchise model. Studios like Marvel refined the modern shared universe franchise-first model, turning interconnected films into an industrial strategy for long-term IP value. The primary goal is no longer to tell a single powerful self-contained story. The goal is to build an endlessly expandable universe. From an IP strategy standpoint, studios often prefer these narratives that can be expanded into multiple properties because expandability increases long-term commercial value. A world that can host a dozen different series over 20 years is a priceless asset. This pressure fundamentally changes the creative calculus. It rewards writers for building worlds that are wide, not deep. It values lore that creates opportunities for more content rather than lore that reinforces a central idea.
I think a big part of what I've seen from fantasy modern day, what I've seen is that they have like soft lore, and it's just like not in a good way either. Is it where it's like what I'm talking about? What I mean by that is lore that kind of shifts and changes depending on what the writers want to do at that certain moment. So that's kind of how it's presented today. I've seen that with like what I've heard about it from the Wheel of Time show. Shad told me about that one. And I've seen this with Rings of Power, where they'll just shift and change things from the established lore to their own lore, despite the fact that this is supposed to be canonical to the same universe. Right? So it's like they whatever they want to do, they'll just do it, despite the lore being in the way, which is the opposite of what you want to go with. But it's like they have very soft lore, very like it's very malleable, despite the fact that it shouldn't be, and that it just keeps you locked in on what's happening right now, and it's hard to get invested in the lore and the characters if they keep changing to suit the author's wants and needs. So they'll just change things. Again, they'll just change things. so that it can on the whim, like 5 minutes ago, this was true. Now it's not true anymore. They contradicted that. Now it's current lore now, I guess. Kind of like Borderlands 3 or 4. I think it was 3. Borderlands 3, where it's like they had a very, very strong limiter on who is a siren. And then all of a sudden, Borderlands 3 comes along, and every girl is a siren now. Every girl gets to be a siren. Like, what the hell? Why are there so many? How was Tannis ever a siren? That's retarded, for example. And now everyone's like every female character is like a siren. Like, come on now. Like, come on now. So it's like that. They'll switch things up. They'll do things that are stupid just because, it feels cool in the moment. And so it's like, oh man, it's really hard. It's really hard to get invested when it's in the cases like that. But they keep doing it. It's whatever they want to have happen happens. And so it does bog things down. It does kind of like just ruin things, and it just makes things terrible because there's no hard logic. It's just like whatever the author wants it to happen, it'll happen. And see, lore is lore. Let's see. Plot inconsistency is not the issue. How's it not the issue? Like maybe like minor plot inconsistencies, but or you mean the Rings of Power thing? Because I know a big portion of this is the continuity being kind of disrupted in major ways, but also I think it's a big one. But also, there's everything else that happens in these particular stories where they're not like the characters are not respected, things like that. Where there's because the thing is this whole the baseline of the lore not being respected, the characters not being respected, leads to what was it? Just safe usage of tropes. So we're going to go into things that work rather than things that are thematically or narratively interesting or correct, or where it flows. Like they take it off the organic flow from where things should go, and they kind of hardwire it to be more romantic, for example, or something. Let's see. The travel time, like travel time. Wait, hold on. What? So self, not the lore. No, well, wait a minute. How's that? That's the same thing. Yeah, travel time is not the lore, but here's the thing: they kind of like in Rings of Power, they have things that are supposed to happen in the story, the background or the history, and then the show itself kind of disconnects from that. They kind of break away because they want Galadriel and Sauron to get together. It should not have happened. Like her brother, I think, was like it kind of switched things up with her brother, her family. She was supposed to have a husband that they kind of like throw in later, but they don't. They kind of got rid of all that so they can get the Sauron Galadriel thing. Let's see. So they kind of disconnect from that. It kind of breaks it so that they can do whatever they want. The characters kind of advance in such a way that they're kind of disconnected from their what they're supposed to be from the lore, the books, the source material. And I think that's kind of where people kind of, and this also happens in book form too, like from book to book, they kind of break continuity. Like for example, Brandon Sanderson has a continuity editor to make sure that he doesn't break continuity because it's kind of easy to do sometimes. They don't care about that. Like a lot of modern day current writers don't care about that. It's like, oh, I'll just break whatever I want. I don't care. Let's do whatever I want. Let's see. If I can convince you my unreality can exist, at least while you're reading, watching, playing, I win as a storyteller. And that's kind of why it does work. That's kind of why they do that, because in a lot of ways it does work. It's like the Has-Been Hotel thing, where people will complain all day about Has-Been Hotel and Hell of a Boss storytelling, but it still has a big audience because it does something that will intrigue you. It does maintain your interest because it does the things that the audience wants, even if it's not set up correctly, even there's no like substance to it. Again, like we watched that video maybe like a week ago or whatever, where the guy goes, it's just icing. And that's kind of what it is. That's like a big problem right now. People like it and people really enjoy it. And it kind of drums up a lot of excitement, but there's no substance to it. It's just icing. It's kind of like, I'm pretty sure if you go in front of a lot of people and you give them cake, they'll be excited. But there's no nutrition in the cake alone. There's not enough nutrition in that cake alone. So if you just eat cake for a week straight, you're going to feel sick. And see. Ryan Lopez says, okay, so let me give you an example of Game of Thrones season 8. No lore, but if you travel across Westeros in a week on a boat, that's continuity. It's a no lore, but no, I'm talking about like the entirety of the encompassing aspects of it, the entirety of the story. So yeah, I do know this. That the travel time is not lore. It's hold on. So it makes no sense. Sauron hook up with Galadriel. That's lore. I'm not sure we're talking about the same thing here. I'm talking about like the established story that they have in the Silmarillion and the Lord of the Rings, from I heard of, is way different than what the show brings us. So if they're supposed to advertise the show to appeal to fans of Lord of the Rings. So when they kind of keep those things in mind and then break away from the established lore to bring you Galadriel and Sauron, that's breaking what they've established. Like this cannot happen. It's kind of like if they had a continuity editor with them, the continuity editor would be like, wait a minute, no, that doesn't happen. There's no way. Yes, the travel time though is continuity, where it's like in the beginning of the show of Game of Thrones, it takes you forever to get to the wall. I think it's called. Like, it takes you forever to get to the wall, and then towards the end of the show, the later seasons, people are just warping around. Yeah, that's breaking continuity, not lore, but continuity. In that particular case, so there's that as well. And I do know that some people did not like Star Wars EU because it broke that kind of thing. But people make fun of the fact that they keep coming up with super weapons, for example. But yeah, but I'm talking about a lot of times in this in a series of fantasy, why modern fantasy sucks quite a bit, is because the baseline is they're willing to break whatever lore they've established. They're willing to break whatever continuity they've established in order to adhere to tropes that are popular and that work. And that's kind of where we get to the aspect in this conversation that surrounds Hazbin Hotel and Hell of a Boss. Because that thing, it's though that kind of writing clicks with people because it just goes to the icing. They don't really have to establish or maintain the lore or anything like that. They just kind of have to go to the next scoop of icing, to one scoop of icing to the next, one scoop of ice cream to the next one cake to the next. And it's just delicious stuff that you get that you want to see. Like you don't really want to see you watch John Wick, you really want to see these lounge scenes with Winston and everything, right? You kind of endure them, and you might like them too. But the thing is, you're not there for the lounge scenes or whatever. You're there for the gunplay. You're there for the shoot 'em ups. So, you kind of skip the setups or skip lore, break it, so they can get right to the whole shoot 'em up portion of the film. And that's kind of what Hazbin Hotel does and Hell of a Boss does. It kind of skips the lounge scenes and the big setup and the slow burn and kind of gets you to, we want Stolas to start beating up people. We despite the fact that he doesn't really have the capabilities to. He just does it because take that, Dad. And see, yeah, she's supposed to be. That's kind of what the main issues fans of Lord of the Rings have, is that she's supposed to be really powerful, but not like this. Like she's very different. But she's supposed to be really powerful. Yeah, and also a great sword fighter. That's also true. But people who love Lord of the Rings got to point out that they kind of really mischaracterized her character in Rings of Power, and she's both overpowered and underpowered at the same time. It's crazy. I think it's like there's something there that disconnects, despite the fact that she's supposed to be a really good fighter and a really powerful character. However, the way she's depicted in the show is weird in that aspect. And she's treated like special by the show, and then also underpowered compared to the regular book Galadriel. But she has the powers of the Mary Sue, where she's like this treated perfectly, and special, as if she's not part of that world. Let's see. She was offered the ring. So that's a temptation. That's how. In fact, I talked about the temptation test that a hero undergoes, where the main difference between a hero and a villain is the temptation test. And so when you're offered temptation, a hero will pass it, a villain will fail. And so Galadriel was a hero because she refused the ring, even though it was very tempting to take. Same thing with Gandalf. I think Frodo offered the ring to Gandalf as well. And he's like, no. I shouldn't take it because the Sauron's ring and all the rings he made corrupts the powerful. That's what it does. Like the ring in the hands of Galadriel or Gandalf, like it'll take your good intentions and twist them into something evil. That's what it does. And so powerful people like Gandalf and Galadriel know better than to take that ring, even though it will give them great power.
Story itself becomes secondary to the potential of the IP, which means suddenly major character arcs are reversed or ignored. Why? Because the new story needs to set up a spin-off series for a different character. The integrity of the original narrative is sacrificed on the altar of IP expansion. Each installment becomes less of a story and more of a commercial for the next product in the line. Now, the second factor then is audience fragmentation. In a global marketplace, major franchises are designed to appeal to the broadest possible audience. They are products meant to be consumed by everyone, everywhere. This creates a powerful incentive to send.
See, that's kind of the point I'm getting at. That they're willing to discard anything and everything to get to these really popular and I guess energetic tropes, because there's certain tropes out there that people want to see in fantasy that really get them energized, that really get them excited, and that excitement leads to people watching and it leads to sales. But again, it's like they might break lore, break continuity, break character, whatever it is, whatever they need to break to get there, they'll break it, and people will like it. People will be excited for it. But ultimately, when you look back on it, when the excitement fades, you just have a mess. And see, you just have a mess left behind. There's no real story to take away. It's just a momentary energy that people have, momentary excitement that people have. That's kind of what happens when you eat cake, right? You get excited for cake, it's delicious, but then you get sick. Like you start getting malnourished because the cake does not have the nutrients you need to live. Same thing with a story. A story needs to be nutritious for it to maintain health and life. You can have all this titillation, right? You can have the romances and the sex scenes. You can have the guy punching out his dad or whatever, despite the fact that there was no build up, and people will get excited for it. They'll feel a cathartic release from it, but without the proper structure, without the continuity, without the maintaining what you've built as if it's a living, breathing world, and these are living, breathing people, it's not going to have nearly the impact it would have had you maintained good structure, good character, and maintained a solid continuity. Now, sometimes you can break it a little bit, you can deviate from it a little bit, but when it's done right, it makes sense. Like, oh, that's you. This is usually the case, right? But it's different here because of X, Y, Z. So, it's like in fact, you could use it as a mystery. For example, like Spoonie had that happen before, or had that experience before, where he would be running a mystery in a D&D campaign or something like that, or have like maybe not a mystery campaign, but they had his players following something they didn't quite know what they're following. And so what happened was, when the players like finds out about this, finds the clues about this creature and goes, wait a minute, that can't be the case because of XYZ. And then Spoonie, who legitimately forgot or missed something, goes, yeah, it's weird, isn't it? So despite the fact that he got something wrong or missed something, this break in logic, normalcy, and continuity can be used for good mystery. But at the end of that mystery, it has to make sense. But it has to make sense. Like, why is this the exception? Why is it so different this time around? It could be because, it's enchanted, or maybe it's from a different origin or something. That, like, for example, you could have like a monster that, or a horde of monsters that your main characters could be fighting the entire time, and then these tactics always work against it, right? And then you come up with another monster that's the same kind of monster, but it has defenses against what usually works, and then it has different weaknesses you later learn. Then, like, why is it so different? What the hell? Why does it break the established system? You can find out because its origins were different, or it originates from a different area, or something, something like that. So, or like in a I don't know, like like if you ever played Left 4 Dead 2, and you have like regular zombie, right? And then you have like a smoker, you have like a witch or something like that. They're different because there's something about them mutated differently. And you can easily explain that away. And see chat. Anyway, I can release your $2 for chat. This is a momentary excitement, aka one night stand. Yeah, exactly. One night stand. I mean, it feels like a good story, right? Because it gets you excited, it gets you energized, gets you emotional. You have that emotional release, everything, right? But at the end of the day, what happens is, at the end of the day, there's nothing to go back to. Then there's not much to take from it if it also doesn't maintain solid structure or explore something in a profound way. Like if it doesn't really, because as I know this from Neil Gaiman, I just couldn't find this quote again, but Neil Gaiman once said, "You get the craft right, the art will follow." So if your craft is solid, and if your plot is solid, your characters are consistent, things like that, then you can better explore and express a message, a lesson, or whatever it is in your story. But it doesn't have anything solid. If it's this all malleable and it can change at any moment, then any meaning that the story might have had is going to be lessened or completely diminished. But you will get those moments of excitement. You'll get the kiss. You get the sex scene. You'll get the punch out. You get the shoot 'em up scene. It makes no sense, but and there's like it comes out of nowhere, but it gets you excited. John Wick does it pretty well. Everything kind of makes sense, even if it's just kind of like some things are looser than the rest. The 3 and 4 do kind of shift more into the territory of we just need to get the next scene, the next set piece. I do like them still, but they do kind of shift over to let's get to the next set piece as opposed to let's get to the next section of the story. A little bit. Let's see here. Then Golden Reaper, this is a $5 super chat. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Let me see here. Yes. Avoid tattoos, purity of body and cells. OnlyFans girls have tattoos. Just talisman of clothing should work. I think so. So kept her without tattoos. If you're referring to Lady Midnight. And see chat. All right, see what he says.
Off any sharp edges. A story with a strong, specific, and challenging thematic argument is inherently risky. A powerful
and see the excitement requires a power build-up and context to be satisfying, similar to how you can appreciate light, not by looking at the sun directly, but that makes it visible. Yeah, something like that. Well, here's the thing, though. A lot of people just kind of are excited from the meta of some of these tropes. So yes, under normal circumstances, excitement and big thrill, all this stuff like that, the emotional release requires good build-up, good structure. But right now, because of the political landscape, a lot of people are just excited to see a trope in existence in a story. Like they want to, because they're so like in this era of I need to see myself in the film. I need to see myself as a hero. you get these people who just go to a movie to watch the character beat up the boys. For example, you don't want to see Galadriel suffer and build herself up. You want to see her beat up the bully. At the beginning of Rings of Power, you don't want you don't want to see her lose because it's too close to home, I guess. You don't want to see her suffer or struggle. You want to see her make this cool boat that everyone's jealous of, and then the boy sinks it because he's jealous of her, and then you want to see her run over there and beat him up. Yeah, take that, stupid boy. You want to see that. That's kind of what they want to see. It's like that. It's like their own personal needs are being fulfilled in the show or the film, and so they get excited for that. Like the whole thing where Stolas beats up this mean old dad figure, despite the fact that he probably shouldn't be able to do that because of the established lore. So it's in normal circumstances, story should be driven by good buildup and good plot progression, story, character, continuity, all that to be solid motifs and beyond the art of it, the craft, then the art, and then the excitement. That's where you get the emotional payoffs. But today, it's a little bit distorted because right now, a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's a female main character. I want to see her beat up the boys. Oh, it's a gay character. I want to see him be gay and defy dad." It's like stuff like that kind of gets people excited, and so a lot of writers tend to write towards those momentary points of excitement. And I think it's kind of where he's getting at here. That's what it feels like anyway. That they do rank high on the SEO. They do rank high on like the excitement level. Like they do sell pretty well. They just adding these tropes in. But again, they're just tropes with a momentary built-in excitement. At the end of the day, you still need the foundations and build up. And see.
Full moral statement will, by its very nature, alienate those who disagree with it. And to avoid this risk, the themes become generic. Sanitized platitudes like family is important, hope is powerful, or good should triumph over evil. These are not morally deep themes. They are slogans for greeting cards. They might feel resonant, but they are philosophically empty. They challenge no one, and as a result, they truly move no one either. And this creates stories that are emotionally pleasant, but philosophically toothless. Many modern blockbusters will gesture towards a powerful theme, like sacrifice or freedom, but they rarely commit to showing the true ugly cost of that idea. The hero might talk about sacrifice, but the final victory comes with minimal loss. The message is presented as a comforting blanket, not a sharpened blade. It's designed to be agreeable, not transformative. And this leads us to the final and most insidious symptom, the lore as plot fallacy. When a story lacks a powerful thematic engine, it must
making mistakes with actual losses is essential. So Brandon Sanderson kind of goes into this with saying that what we kind of want to see, even if you don't want to follow plot structure or whatever, or don't believe in hero's journey, plot structure and everything to keep you, some people might see that as too limiting. What he says is, then think of it like this: we want to see the hero try their hardest and be at their most clever and still fail, and then grow from that failure. Right? So we get that with Empire Strikes Back with Luke fighting Vader and getting dominated. Then he learns that he has to grow still from that. Oddly enough, Sekiro has that too, right? Everyone played Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, right? Is that what it's called? Yeah, Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. In the beginning, you go to this level, you kill some bad guys, and then you get to the end here, where you fight that guy in the field and he cuts off your arm, right? That's how it goes. Cuts off your arm. You fight him usually with all your greatest strength, everything you've learned. You fight him with all that knowledge and skill, and you lose. And later on, you grow, and you progress throughout the story. That's kind of what you want to see. If you don't want to believe in structure or arcs or things like that, or these things that limit you, Brandon Sanderson lays it out like that. You want to make a promise to your readers. You want to have their story based and written around progressing towards that promise, and then a final payoff at the end. Like if you don't believe in structures and things like that. And then also you want to see your character fail and grow. And that failure is the person at their best, yet still fails. And then their growth shows us that when they grow a little bit, they train a little bit, and they try that again, and they succeed this time. That's kind of where you want to go with it. This is kind of why Rey doesn't feel like an actual character. When people will always point out that, oh, Kylo Ren captures her. Yeah, but he like gets a drop on her. She's not really at her best. It's kind of like he just wins, right? There's no point where they have a big battle against each other in the middle of the story, and then she's using all her powers, all her cleverness, and still loses to Kylo Ren. He just gets a drop on her, boom, knocks her out, takes her, which is kind of a cheap shot, really. And then later on, when they actually do battle, she just wins. She just beats him, even though he has like way more experience and stuff. So that's why it doesn't feel that way. Because as Brandon Sanderson said, what we want to see the hero do is be at their best and fail, and then grow from that failure. And see. God Demigod, this is 15 months of support. Appreciate that very much to Crowd Demigod. What's up, everyone? And remember to stay hydrated. Absolutely. Very important. Very important. And see, chat. Leaf, it sounds like this Chinese AI story, revenge romance, easy to get plot. That's why they work. That's why there's a lot of them on YouTube. I've been promoted a bunch of them. Like I've been promoted to, hold on, how do I say this? They promoted to me a bunch of those stories. Easy to get plot. Revenge allows for gratuitous violence to justify the MC's decisions when fighting back. Yeah, so they know exactly where to hit the points. It's basically just titillization and pulp. All right, a lot of them are just like, okay, the person did something bad. They had this perfect life. They got bored, ruined the perfect life, and now we get to see the consequences of it. That's kind of the stuff I keep getting. Also, the Reddit stories where the main character is accused of something awful, their life is ruined, and then the truth comes out, and then we get the catharsis of having them refuse everything and tell everyone off and go, yeah, you didn't believe in me and everything. So there's also that. Like, I guess they're from Reddit or something. So it's those kind of stories. They know exactly what pattern to go with. And so you can get that build up, that wrong, and then the emotional payoff when things come out, the truth comes out, and they're able to get their revenge, by denying everybody or rejecting people. And we get to see the fallout, right? They get to see the fallout. Let's see, chat. I think we got everything. So Ryan Lopez says, so I like Batman because he's a superhero with everything the modern day offers, even super tech. A guy that fights crime with a code, his own city. Yeah, no mutant gene. So it's pretty fun. It's like adds a little extra challenge to him where he's a little more vulnerable, but he's still able to overcome things anyway. This way, I think the Punisher is the other side of the coin of Batman, because the Punisher he's willing to kill. He doesn't have a no-kill rule. He's willing to kill, torture, do whatever it takes to kill, to wipe out crime, because he has his morality is black and white, very strongly black and white. However, he still has a code, which kind of makes him an anti-hero as opposed to like an anti-villain or something. So he still has a code. No one innocent dies. No innocents will die under his watch. And if he does, he'll kill himself, because that's kind of how strong his code is. Nathaniel Zozabals. Hello to you. How long did the cast of Inuyasha had to suffer before they finally overcome Naraku? The people get invested in the story and characters when they see them rise up from every defeat. It makes the victories more satisfying. Yeah, it's like one of the big points of Dragon Ball Z is seeing the train, right? One of the biggest selling points of Dragon Ball Z is not just the big, gigantic, flashy fights. It's the build up to these things, right? So, like Raditz, like they go fight Raditz, and there's like a huge, it's a Pyrrhic victory. Like Goku ends up dead. Piccolo goes to train Gohan because Raditz dies and says, "Oh yeah, there's 2 Saiyans coming this way, and they're way stronger than I am." So they have everyone starts training. Goku has thing is, everyone starts training kind of off screen, like whatever. But Piccolo, however, is one of the more focused guys, where the story focused on Piccolo and the training of Gohan, and then we really focus on Goku and during down Snake Way and all those challenges until he finally gets to King Kai, and then King Kai teaches him how to do his the Kaioken, Spirit Bomb, all that stuff. So that's a big part of the story. And then later on, we get to see how that all that training improved Goku, and like how can he stand up against these two Saiyan guys? And the answer is mostly yes. He beats Nappa, able to stand toe to toe with Vegeta for a while, and so that's how that goes. Like a big part of Dragon Ball Z is the training, is the development, then seeing how far that training got him. Same thing with like Frieza. Like he trains all the way to Namek in that like 100 gravity ship, and he fights all these guys. And then he fights Frieza, and he still has to grow from there, like growing Super Saiyan and everything. And then even when it's not Goku, and it's like a Gotenks training in the hyperbolic time chamber to fight Boo. You get all that stuff. So yes, we know Dragon Ball Z from the big flashy fights, but a big selling point of Dragon Ball Z is actually the training and Goku and other characters overcoming these astronomical challenges. So it is very, very interesting. It's a very essential thing to see is the struggle. And a lot of modern day shows and stories and things kind of want to cut the struggle out because to them it's the boring part. Let's get to the good part, which is the kiss, the fight, the murder, the red weddings and stuff like that. But without the buildup and proper structure underneath to make it sustainable, give it backbone and foundation, it's just a momentary thrill, and that's about it.
Substitute something else to create the illusion of depth and complexity. And that substitute is almost always lore. A perfect and painful recent example is Amazon's The Rings of Power. For an entire season, the narrative engine was not a character's moral struggle. The engine was a guessing game for the audience. Who is Sauron? Who is the stranger? The plot advanced not through choices, but through the slow, deliberate withholding of information. Characters frequently stop the action cold to deliver lengthy exposition about the history of Middle-earth. The how of the world completely eclipses the why of the story. Basically, the entire narrative momentum is fueled by reveals of information, not by tests of character or philosophy.
See, that's pretty good, right? So they string you along. A lot of the modern day stories kind of string you along with like mystery and reveals of information rather than growth of character. But it feels good because they trick you into feeling like it's a good story because, oh, revelation, and then battle, and then overcoming what was presented as a challenge. But they don't have to grow to meet that challenge. Right? The revelation doesn't come in because the character advances or gains some new knowledge or earns it. This is kind of like someone comes in and tells you kind of how that goes. And see, Golden Reaper, they said $10 super chat. I think Golden Reaper is pretty much almost financed to streams at this point. Thank you much, Golden Reaper. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. And see, this is why I hate Batman. He is the most biased written. Okay, so that part is true. There's a lot of writers who are biased towards Batman, really biased towards Batman. So, so biased that the only one that gets prep time, the heroes that fight him get depowered by writers to fight him. Plot armor biased writing. Yeah, so a lot of writers, because of Batman's mythos and how cool everyone thinks he is, and he is cool. I do like Batman. A lot of writers who get a chance to write Batman write him in like the most biased way possible, and that is true. A lot of them do. Not everyone, but a lot of them. So that is definitely true that there are a lot of biased writers when it comes down to Batman. So depowered by writers, yeah. That is an issue too. That he, for some reason, like he's the only guy that gets prep time. Now I've been watching these Batman AI videos, which I liked a lot, which are him fighting these cool monsters like Jason and Michael Myers and Freddy Krueger and Chucky and the Jeepers Creepers thing. That part is cool. I do like those, but and the thing is, those battles make sense as to why he's the only one that gets prep time, right? Because Jason and Michael Myers and even Freddy don't really have time to plan or even know to plan. Freddy probably could plan because he actually has the intellect, but even if you count him as a guy that gets prep time, he manipulates dreams. He's still kind of limited. However, if he does get prep time, okay. But Jason and Michael Myers and stuff like that, those kind of guys, they probably wouldn't get prep time because they don't have much of an intellect. They're kind of like this walking automatons. That's kind of what they are. But it's attached to a curse or I guess a curse, a ritual. I think they're both cursed. I do know that Michael Myers is cursed by his babysitter from the first movie. I think that's kind of where that began. Jason is connected to a ritual, so I think that's part of it. Anyway, but yeah, there are some biased writers of Batman, definitely, absolutely, and it's become more and more as the time has gone on.
The environment in which modern fantasy is created. It is a system that rewards breadth over depth, engagement over meaning, and lore over conviction. As a result, it encourages a form of creative cowardice that results in stunningly beautiful worlds that have absolutely nothing to say. But recognizing the disease is only the first step. To truly arm ourselves against it, we need a new mental model for thinking about story. A framework that shifts our focus from the sprawling map of our world to the beating heart of our narrative. We need to build our stories on a foundation of conviction. Now, that hollow feeling we diagnosed in the contentverse isn't just an abstract industry problem. It's a deeply personal one that shows up on the page, right inside your own work. I know this because I've lived it, and I suspect you have too. You begin with a world that feels electric, with potential.
All right, here we go.
And characters who breathe in your mind. The first chapters pour onto the page, alive and crackling with energy. But then slowly the drift sets in. The story loses its heading, feeling aimless and lost in that.
Now this in general is a problem with a lot of fledgling writers. It's one of those things about writing that remains a problem no matter how veteran you are. But it is a more prominent issue with fledgling writers, and that is, and this is even things my professors pointed out. Your beginnings tend to be awesome, and then the endings tend to be awesome, and with the middle dies. The middle is just dead weight, and that's not a good thing. But you begin with a cool idea. Your first few chapters and stories are boom, they're really good. Then when you get to the middle, it kind of meanders around and feels like dead weight, and because a lot of times they don't really know where to go. Like, how you want to defeat this guy, but how do you do that? And I think one of the main issues is they have an overarching goal, like an overall goal, but they don't have a tangible one. So, like for example, with Luke Skywalker, his goal, defeat the Empire, but that's not a tangible goal. Like, how do you defeat the Empire exactly? You destroy the Death Star in movie 1, A New Hope. That's how you defeat the Empire in A New Hope. You destroy the Death Star. Boom, easy. The entire movie's been building up to that. So that's part of the reason why A New Hope is so well remembered and so good, because you need to fight the Empire. You need to defeat the Empire, and then you have a tangible goal on how to do just that. Now, it doesn't always have to be destroy the Empire. It can be you kill the Emperor. It could be that you defeat his army or whatever it is. You break this magical stone that he has that gives him immortality. You do something like that. But it always has to be, you can have a grandiose, even abstract goal, which, like, I want to be happy. But there has to be something tangible to tie it down. Like you need a rock to tie the balloon to, so it doesn't float away. And a lot of fledgling writers have this grandiose thing, they have this like a idea in their mind that I want my character to go fight the Emperor, or I want him to go conquer the Empire. I want my character to go find enlightenment or something like that. Okay. Those are acceptable goals for a hero to have. Even if it's something like, I wanted him to become the greatest swordsman who's ever lived. Even that, despite it sounding tangible, is not tangible. How does he become the greatest sword fighter who's ever lived? How does he do that? Does he pass a test? Does he overcome like this obstacle course? Does he fight this one guy? I had an idea for a D&D character one time. I think I told Stu this, where the character would have that exact goal. That I want to become the greatest swordsman who's ever lived. But he had an idea for that goal, and you would have a resurrection scroll with him, right? Because the idea would be that he's looking for the tomb of this guy who was known to be the strongest fighters ever lived, or the greatest sword fighters ever lived. And then when he finally finds the tomb or finally finds the body, he would resurrect that guy so he can fight him and then hopefully win. And then that's the idea they would have that would, in his mind, solidify that he's the greatest sword fighter who's ever lived. It's like something like that. It's kind of like how everyone, if you've ever seen Rurouni Kenshin, how everyone wants to fight Kenshin and win so they can be the strongest. It's like that. Like, I want to be the strongest. How do you do that? By defeating Kenshin. Tangible goal. So a lot of new writers don't really do that, and then they kind of get lost. Because if your goal is to defeat the Empire, how do you do that? And they don't have that answer. And when they don't have that answer, the middle kind of meanders. It could be a lot of other factors too, but I found that a lot of times if you don't have a tangible goal to go along with your more abstract goal, you don't know where to go exactly. You really don't. Let's see. I'll make you a deal, Karen. You say what you want to say without being coy, and I will also. What does go off the grid mean? Like, literally. I mean, in real life, that means you don't use the power grid. I think it's kind of where the baseline of that is. If you watch this scene where the ships are lifting off to attack the Death Star, you realize that it is in effect a forlorn hope. The Force is pitiful. Yeah, show don't tell. You want to go with show don't tell. Let's see.
In famous saggy middle, where you find yourself just pushing plot points around like heavy furniture in a dark, unfamiliar room. You're writing, but you're not actually going anywhere. This is the precise feeling of a story that has lost its compass. Now, common writing advice tells you that the solution is to find your theme. But a theme, a simple topic like love or betrayal, is just a single destination on a vast map. Looking at that...
By the way, that's exactly what happened in a lot of fledgling stories. They're writing without going anywhere. And it feels that way because you don't have a tangible goal. And so anyone, a lot of writers, a lot of teachers will tell you that everything must advance the plot. But in order to advance a plot, it has to have a destination, right? So what are they trying to do? What is the main character trying to do at this moment? They're trying to find the answer to a mystery. They're trying to rescue a friend. They're trying to overcome this one bad guy by outfighting him or whatever. So you need to train, you need to find some way to beat him. And so there are some kung fu movies that I like quite a bit. The ones where they fight Pai Mei, and they're pretty cool because it's like the main guy is like a Shaolin monk who's like really talented, one of the few survivors of the slaughter of the Shaolin temple, and he goes to fight Pai Mei because Pai Mei betrayed them, or Bak Mei, I guess you could say. So he goes to fight Bak Mei, loses horrifically, retreats, and then trains. And a lot of usually the training requires them to like learn the pressure points and like where his like chi points are or whatever, and trying to overcome his kung fu. So they train a lot, and then they eventually are able to defeat Bak Mei. Now, one of them is that the guy was never able to win. His son has to take over for the dad's training, and then he goes to defeat Bak Mei. And then the other one is like the actual guy learns new techniques, new kung fu, new mindsets, is able to go and defeat Pai Mei or Bak Mei eventually. But they have to learn like these intricate things to take him down specifically because he's like a master of masters. But the thing is, the tangible goal that they're always progressing to is defeating Pai Mei at his own game, like his kung fu. Defeat him in hand-to-hand combat. That's always the goal. So it's, even though it's probably like the best movies ever, and they're not probably not even well known, I don't think, there is a tangible goal they're always progressing to. And so in order to avoid this whole thing of like you're meandering, you're not going anywhere, you're writing a plot that goes nowhere, and it kind of feels like you're writing without doing anything, without advancing anything. That's why they need the characters need a goal to progress to. And if they have a goal to progress to, you can have things happen that advance towards that goal. And then therefore your story will feel alive and you'll feel like you're going somewhere, and people will be interested in seeing how do you get there? Are you going to win when you get there? Are you going to succeed? What's going to happen? Let's see. Enemy Accurate listen to that super chat says Freddy seems too arrogant to plan. Freddy? Oh yeah. You mean Freddy Krueger? That's kind of where my thought is. That, yeah, he has the intellect to plan, but I don't think he would. That's my idea. And see, Golden Reaper predicts the 5. Super chat says, also, I'm surprised the internet never shipped Poison Ivy and Superman, Plant, and Sun. It sounds like a perfect yet not perfect match. I never thought of that, actually. Yeah, that he gets his powers from the yellow sun. That maybe Poison Ivy would see him as like someone she would like because, oh, you get power from the sun like my plants do. I can see that being the case, yeah.
Yes.
And see, yeah, even Tolkien sets it up from the beginning, like get to Mount Doom, and even in The Hobbit, like the ultimate goal is to go get treasure from Smaug, and the whole journey is to get to Smaug's lair. So like, oh, you got to Smaug, here it is, the big point of the film, the big point of the show, or the book or whatever. Here it is. We're getting pretty close to the end here. Here's our final destination, and then, boom, they defeat Smaug, and they have all this treasure. But then what happens after that? Here comes everyone to collect, right? Here comes the wood elves. Here comes the humans. Here comes the other dwarves, the cousin. And then here comes the goblins to come claim the treasure, and then here comes the eagles to come help them out. But yeah, there's like the Battle of 5 Armies occurs because this treasure happens. This treasure is now free from Smaug's clutches. And see, anyway, yeah. So a tangible goal is kind of what you need for so that first of all you know where to go. And second of all, for something that your audience can grasp, that your plot can progress to. Like the idea of like, I want to become happy. I want to become the greatest swordsman who's ever lived. That's not really something your audience can grasp because those aren't tangible. You need something like he wants to find this tomb to defeat this guy, to resurrect this guy so he can defeat him. He wants to blow up the Death Star. He wants to get the ring to Mount Doom. He wants to go and fight Smaug and reclaim the treasure. That's where you want. That's what you want. That's what you ultimately want.
Pin on the map doesn't tell you which direction to travel or why the journey matters in the first place. To navigate the wilderness of your own story, you need something more foundational.
By the way, this is also why I have such a conflict between in Yu-Gi-Oh! You get Duelist Kingdom, right? And then you get Battle City. Now, Battle City is cool because of the duels and how they're far more in line with the rules. Not completely, but far more in line with the rules than they were in Duelist Kingdom, which is basically just like card-based D&D, and it's going to make up whatever. But in Duelist Kingdom, they actually have a tangible goal, right? In Duelist Kingdom, they have the goal of like, my grandfather's soul has been taken. I need to go to this island and defeat Pegasus to free my grandpa's soul. It's really good, compelling, and awesome. And like every duel that Yugi wins, he gets more star chips, and every star chip he gets advances him towards that ultimate goal of dueling Pegasus and eventually freeing his grandpa's soul. Now, with Battle City, it's a little bit different. Now, they do have a similar star chip thing, the system. Like, okay, you got to get these locator cards. If you get like enough of them, you'll get to find out where the actual thing is, where the meetup place is for the finals, right? And so it feels like you have a tangible goal, but you don't, because the main thing Yugi's main goal is to save the world from some great evil. And it's like, okay, what great evil exactly? I know you have Merrick and the Rare Hunters, but it doesn't really feel like that's the great evil. And it feels like the writers didn't even know what the great evil was. It's like some mysterious great evil. So like every episode, in fact, almost every time they had to go to commercial, they had to remind us that, oh, I have to win this duel in order to save humanity. Or if I lose this duel, I doom the entire world. Like, okay, well, how? Again, you don't really know what the danger specifically is. We just know that the world's in danger, and that's like oddly enough boring. It's not really as interesting as when we know what's at stake, which is in Duelist Kingdom, where we have like the grandpa's souls trapped, and we need to get, we need to free him. Anyway,
a tool that acts as your narrative's true thematic compass. This compass is forged by answering what I call the thematic question. What is this story really about? The answer to that question, articulated in a single powerful sentence, is your story promise. The story promise is the central transformative argument at the heart of your narrative, a statement of conviction that elevates a simple sequence of events into a profound journey of meaning. Let's look at Ursula K. Le Guin's masterpiece, A Wizard of Earthsea. Now, a simple plot summary might describe it as the story of a gifted but arrogant young wizard who accidentally releases a terrible shadow monster and must find a way to destroy it. That tells us what happens, but it doesn't touch the story's soul. The true story promise is far deeper. This story is about learning that to conquer your shadow, you must first accept it as an integral part of yourself. Can you feel that profound shift in gravity? Suddenly the plot is no longer just a vessel, it becomes a carrier of precious cargo. The delivery mechanism for the one idea the author truly wants you to wrestle with. This single sentence becomes the soul of the novel, the gravitational center that gives every plot point, every character choice, and every piece of world building its unshakable purpose. So how do you forge a promise like this for your own novel? Well, the process begins with ignoring plot and starting with the protagonist's core emotional journey. You must first look beneath the surface of events and ask what internal warrior character is truly fighting. Once you understand that struggle, you can then articulate the universal truth it reveals, the timeless human lesson that their journey ultimately proves. Fusing that internal war with its universal truth is how you forge a
Whoa, universal truth! Watch out! That's Nazis. I heard talking about universal truths instead of like being morally correct or exposing social issues, like more universal truth instead of my truth. I heard that's Nazis. Got to watch out for that.
Statement of pure conviction. This becomes the ultimate antidote to the creative cowardice we diagnosed earlier. A story constructed around such a core cannot feel hollow because its every component, from a line of dialogue to a piece of lore, is infused with a deeper meaning. But while a story promise defines your novel's ultimate destination, the protagonist's journey still must begin with a single decisive step. It starts with a pivotal, irreversible choice that forces them to confront the story's central argument for the very first time. That critical moment is what I call an emotional waypoint, and it marks the true beginning of your novel. In fact, I believe that turning your big idea into such tangible moments is so crucial that I've put together a specific worksheet to guide you through it. It's a key part of my emotional waypoint starter kit.
But what about my truth? Exactly. It's like we went over yesterday with the Rings of Power, and now the trailer had the song literally say, "Speak your truth." It's just so top tier cringe.
It's a free guide that helps you define the core conflict and choices that will serve as the unshakable foundation for your entire novel. You can grab it for free using the link right in the description below. Now, having said that, understanding the theory is one thing, but witnessing its power in action is another. The true value of this model becomes undeniable when we see the stark difference it makes on the screen. So let me place two major fantasy works head to head. One that wanders lost in the content verse, and another that is built on the unshakable bedrock of a powerful story prompt. The difference between a story that simply exists in a world and a story that uses a world to say something is profound. On one hand, we have Netflix's adaptation of The Witcher, a prime example of a content verse narrative. On the other, the BBC HBO adaptation of Philip Pullman's His Dark Materials, a story built from its very DNA around a dangerous story promise. Let me begin with The Witcher first here. The show is on many levels a success, at least in its early season. It has stunning production design, thrilling action, and a genuinely charismatic lead performance by Henry Cavill. The world feels gritty and lived in. But if you ask, what is the first season of The Witcher really about? The answer becomes murky. The story lacks a single focused story promise. Instead, the narrative gestures towards several compelling ideas. We see explorations of destiny, particularly with Geralt and Ciri being bound by the law of surprise, a magical tradition where a person can claim a boon that is unknown to both giver and receiver. The show also examines the pain of being an outcast through Geralt, a magically altered monster hunter, feared by the
so the same thing as X-Men. And that part where it's about being the feeling of being on the outside, but there's the whole thing about good and evil comes into play too. Or with X-Men, it's about feeling like an outcast, but then choosing not to let that get to you, choosing not to hold a grudge, choosing not to let the outside hatred or the outcast feeling turn you into a sour evil person, which is Magneto versus X-Men in that case. Okay, so that's kind of that's why it's so important, is that it's supposed to be about feeling like an outcast, feeling like you're an outsider, feeling different, but choosing to do good despite all that, being treated differently, being seen as differently, being seen as different, but choosing to be good anyway. That's the important lesson here in X-Men. Now, activists have taken that and said, "Oh, it's about being gay, actually, or it's about being black, or it's about being a minority." It could, no, it's not. It's about the universal truth of feeling like an outcast, like the idea of feeling like an outcast. Maybe like universal experience, we'll say, because everyone will likely feel that way in one moment or another, despite who you are. So The Witcher has that same idea. You are a different person. You are looked upon as both a hero and a monster by some people. But it's important to realize that that you must maintain your morality. You must maintain your push towards goodness. But the thing is, I'm pretty sure activists and everything will say that no, The Witcher is not about feeling outcast and trying to do, being a monster hunter and living with that stigma and feeling like, the universal experience of feeling like you're different. No, it's actually a trans allegory because they have to claim everything. Very annoying part, but these things they say is about, minorities, is about being gay or whatever it is. It's not about that. Like a good story, not about that at all. It's about the human condition. That's what good writers write about. And when a writer writes about a specific thing that's not universal, they kind of, which when they don't go to a universal experience, the writer does not know it well enough. That's what my theory is. If your writer is writing a specific experience and they have to take it to like specifics, like it has to be this modern day issue, it has to be this social issue, then they're not done yet. They don't know it well enough, because a writer who knows the subject matter well enough can boil it all down to the universal human experience so that everyone can connect to it and everyone can understand. But a lot of modern day writers don't do that. They don't do that work. They don't boil it down to its most basic components. They just take an event and then give that event a like fantasy or sci-fi paint job and then plop it into their story, thinking that makes them brilliant. It doesn't. It really doesn't at all. Let's see. The idea of being the bigger person than those who hurt you is completely alien concept. Yes, absolutely. Let's see. What was it? Who hurt you is a completely alien concept to activists. Yeah, they don't really care about being the bigger person. They want revenge. That's kind of what equity is about. It's just revenge, social revenge. Let's see. Anime Acumen says, I'm on the outside. I'm looking in. I can see through you, see to the real you. Music lyrics. I disagree. Seeing a good interview. Think he was Frida's. A good interview with what exactly? On what subject matter? Say this doesn't matter because it's subjective. Doesn't. Let's see. Sorry, Johnny says one can't build a castle on quicksand. Over it maybe, but it wouldn't put odds on holding up very well. Yeah, you kind of want a solid foundation to build on. Otherwise, sink to the swamp. Nathaniel Zozobal says Vampire D had a great scene where a town wanted to kill D. An old weapon maker held the leader of the mob at gunpoint because he remembered how D rescued him as a boy from months before. Oh, very cool. Very cool. And see. Oh, you're talking about black culture, and what's black culture is African in Africa the same way in Nigeria. Well, yeah, I think let's see. I think there's been like talks and everything about what people see today, what's being pushed by the mainstream as black culture. And what's weird is that they see black culture in America, for example, as the ghetto culture, which it isn't. It's just ghetto culture. It's not black culture. So we have other people who are black and they don't subscribe to that ghetto culture. Is that the media likes it? The mainstream likes depicting people that way. And so that's become the mainstay. And if you don't act this way or believe these things, then you're not really black. It's kind of like the whole thing of like, you don't vote Democrat, you're not black. The whole Joe Biden thing. If you don't vote for me, you just ain't black. Yeah. So there's like these pushes that these obligations you have when you're a certain minority that you have to meet, or else you're not really XYZ. You're not really black. You're a fake Mexican. You're a fake Hispanic, and that sort of thing. But it's all stereotypes. It's all, you must adhere to this stereotype or else you're not a real black person or not a real Hispanic. It's just nonsense.
Very people who need him. There are even moments that toy with the line between man and monsters. These are all fertile grounds for thematic exploration. Yet they remain just that, gestures. The ideas float on the surface of the plot but rarely dictate the essential character-defining choices in a focused way. Geralt's relationship with Destiny, for example, feels inconsistent. He scoffs at the notion one moment and seems resigned to it the next, depending on what the immediate plot requires. The man versus monster motive is a recurring decoration too, but it never builds into a cohesive argument. The result is a series of compelling episodic adventures, a collection of very well-executed side quests. In those, we might admire the world and enjoy the monster of the week, but the narrative lacks a central gravitational pull. Netflix's adaptation of The Witcher is a story operating under the logic of the content-verse, rather than taking all the incredible depth of the original novels and using it to tell a thematically profound story throughout each season. The show's primary goal is in realizing a beloved IP in a way that is satisfying to fans and intriguing to newcomers, creating a platform for endless future stories. This kind of storytelling is entertaining, but it doesn't haunt you. It doesn't demand that you wrestle with a difficult idea long after the credits roll, which makes the whole endeavor thematically safe. Now, with all that said, let's contrast this with his Dark Material. From its opening scene, this story uses its world to wage a philosophical war. Its story promise is radical and dangerous. The true innocence is found in the pursuit of knowledge, and the greatest evil is in ignorance enforced by authority. This is a direct confrontation and reframing of the story of the fall of man from the book of Genesis. It's a story promise you can actually see and feel as you follow the journey of the characters. And it's not a safe promise to build a story on, especially with every single element of the world building engineered to serve this central argument. Let me show you how. For anyone unfamiliar with the books, in this world every human soul lives outside their body as a talking animal companion called a daemon. What appears to be a cool fantasy pet is in fact a powerful thematic tool. The bond between a person and the daemon is absolute. Separating them by more than a few feet causes agonizing physical and emotional pain for both. This single piece of world building gives us a tangible visual representation of a unified soul. The story's antagonist then is a powerful church called the Magisterium. Their entire purpose is to maintain control by suppressing forbidden knowledge, which they call dust. And the ultimate weapon is a horrifying procedure that physically severs a child from their daemon. This act doesn't just kill the animal companion. It leaves the child a passive, empty shell without curiosity, ambition, or free will. This elevates a simple villainous plot into a horrifying physical manifestation of the story's core promise. The Magisterium literally destroys a person's soul to preserve and enforce innocence, which makes the entire plot become the engine of this thematic argument. The protagonist, Lyra, isn't just on an adventure to rescue a kidnapped friend. She's on a collision course with the very idea the Magisterium wants to destroy. Her journey from the sheltered confines of Jordan College to the frozen wastes of the North is a flight from imposed ignorance towards a dangerous, world-shattering truth about dust itself. The world of his Dark Materials elevates itself from a simple backdrop into the very battlefield for its ideas. Holman, the author of the original novels, uses fantasy to construct a grand, elaborate argument about authority, knowledge, and the nature of humanity. That is why the story feels so vital and carries such immense weight, which carries through.
Kind of interesting says the recent roasted Indie Game Awards by 6-1 Games, he had African games listed, and from the front and center game was called Finding Father. Oh no! Oh no! I'm pretty sure you can think of another subject matter, right? And say, reminds me of the Birdman saying that the real black people listen to rap and that you are a trash panda if you don't like them. It's like that's always like the stereotypes, right? You have to adhere to stereotypes or else you don't fit into the category. You're not a real whatever it is. You have to. It's all along the lines of like these categories you have to fit into. Anyway, chat. Anyway, I want to remind you that today we're going to have a stream. We're going to have an extra stream on Twitch. I haven't decided yet exactly what it's going to be, but it's going to be around 5 p.m. Eastern or so. And so hopefully you'll like it. Hopefully we can find something fun to watch. See how it goes. But today we're still $60 away from Pillarman, chats. We're still so far away from Pillarman today. So I don't know. We might not be able to make it to next week either. With what was it? Full Metal Alchemist. So I don't know. Let's see. All right, there we go. What else? Do we have enough time to cover anything else? We'll go over this trailer. We'll go over the Knives Out trailer. See how that goes. So this came out just like a few hours ago, I think. Let's see what they have to show us. So it's a Knives Out Wake Up Dead Man trailer. See how it goes.
You're the only one on stage with the Monsignor at the time of his killing. You're the only one at that church who hated his guts.
The spirit really moved him today, huh?
So tell me, what the hell happened?
Everyone thinks I did it. I didn't do it.
This goes way beyond normal police work. This is something you and I have not experienced. A perfectly impossible crime.
This case is solvable, right?
Well, I'm incapable of not solving a crime. Oh, you'll see. It's fun.
Wicks had a vast family fortune.
If me put
He's done it again. But done what exactly? With Ryan Johnson specifically, when you say he's done it again, that's a heavy exaggeration. That's a heavy accusation. He's done it again.
Can ruin people.
God forbid.
It is time to discover what this flock of wicked wolves is hiding.
There's some Scooby-Doo shit going on here.
I just want to know, like, okay, which minority character is going to do the actual work in the film? Because that's kind of what happens in every Knives Out film. It's like you have Benoit Blanc be the detective, but usually it's like some minority girl that does all the work. Like in the first one, it was the maid or the physical therapist. The second one, it was the twin, the black lady twin, whose sister did all the real work, because of course. And so now this one, which minority girl is going to be the real hero of the story? That's what I'm asking.
Scooby-Doo. With all the pieces on the table, this crime appears impossible.
What is this? What is this now? It just feels like this is going to be like Ryan Johnson's way of just bashing religion. It kind of feels that way. Like it's going to be the priest commits suicide or something. It's a you're calling it now. LD the priest killed himself. That's how locked room mysteries play out in real life. Probably just like went in there and killed himself. I don't know. That's like something, because Ryan Johnson doesn't really like mysteries. He likes the idea of mysteries, and then the answer is just retarded usually. And say Jared Speaks says Roundhead made another film that's without being competent. Yeah, he's done it again. That's exactly. He's done it again. Ryan Johnson done it again. Let me see. really no. Whoa, Animate Acumen with a $50 super chat. They are very much Animate Acumen. They give very, very much. Very cool. Thank you much, Anime Acumen. Appreciate it. Let me see here. Here we go. Here we go. Right. Here we are. There we are, chat. There we are. Boom. Produced by the great Animate Acumen. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Very generous. Says, it's in your hands now, chat. I think Paz Diana's came in here and saved the day with that the follow-up here. The follow-up $10 super chat. Thank you very much, Palace Diana. Appreciate it. Let me see here. Make sure I get the right one. And hello to you, Palace Diana. Thank you very much. I'm on chapter 5 of my current story, and getting to stuff in the middle it is a struggle. I already have ideas for the ending, and that was a lot easier. Yeah, so it's like your beginning and your ending tend to be a lot easier to write than the middle, because the middle is like, what do you do with it? And so this is why a lot of stories in general will tend to sag in the middle and kind of slow down, because you have a lot of writers kind of like no idea where to go. It's kind of like, as the guy said, you're writing without going anywhere. So this is kind of why you need like either one big tangible goal or several tangible goals that lead up to the main goal, usually. So like I need to find, okay, we want to beat the emperor or something. We want to beat the empire. So how do we do that? We have to fight the emperor and kill him. Okay, how do you do that? First of all, we have to learn why, kind of like in Baldur's Gate 3, where you have to like fight Ketheric Thorm, but he's immortal because he keeps coming back to life no matter what you do. So like, first things first, you got to find out how that came to be. Like, how is he, first of all, alive? Second of all, how does he keep regenerating? How is that possible? And so you kind of follow this trail of mysteries so that you can like find out eventually how he's immortal, and then knock that out so you could actually kill him. So it's like that. Like Ketheric Thorm, the Ketheric Thorm arc in the DBZ, Baldur's Gate 3 is pretty cool because it is a mystery you have to uncover, and there's like a series of goals you have to meet in order to uncover that particular mystery, and then of course get rid of his immortality. And see,
He's sick. These kids painting rocket ships all over his sacred resting place.
Yeah, rocket ships. All right, there we go, chat. All right, time for stream memes. I'm definitely gonna watch this movie and see how bad it actually is, because the other two were like just insults to mystery. So I'll check it out. I might as well watch this one too, see how it goes when it comes out. But anyway, chat, we did reach Pillarman, chat. We did reach Pillarman. So we're going to go to stream memes, and we're going to transition with Pillarman. So lower your volume or raise your volume, whatever you prefer, because a loud clip incoming. Loud clip incoming. All right. Loud clip incoming, chat. So raise your volume or lower your volume, whatever you prefer. And Pillarman in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ay, 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 ay.
Oh, yes, best chat. The attacking gods of fitness and the good young gods of fitness have blessed us this wonderful day. Thank you very much, everyone, for your generosity. Thank you very much, Enemy Acumen, for the gigantic donation. Appreciate it. Here we go, chat. Stream memes. Coffee time. Oops, sorry, Animal Kingdom. Looks like I just learned how to throw a fucking rock. Guess your entire evolutionary arms race is just fucked. This is my planet now. It's kind of what happened. Orc ribs. Orc ribs make you go faster. Let's see. All right. My bum has grabbed random clothes to pick up food delivery and ended up looking like Velma. We need to look for clues. Get off Instagram, man. Get off Instagram, man. Let's see. Rank your current mental health status on a scale from lid flipped open to I've lost my trash can. Lid flipped open, tipped over, in the neighbor's yard, down the street, or I've lost my trash can. Like, why'd they do this? Why is every line in a different color? Does it make any sense? Let's see. Is if Germany is the fatherland and Russia is the motherland, was World War II just domestic violence? Poland. What? Kind of document they send me. Open with Google Wallet, Reddit, Me Text Viewer, Mindstorm, or Plague. How do you open up with Plague Inc? Is your chat? Got into D&D years later, found a Dungeon Master class on Facebook. It's an hour out of the city. Arrive. It's not the D&D kind. Oh. Sure, why not? Now get paid for monitoring dungeons. Chatting with librarian while she's being whipped. You should work at a library. Sure, why not? What's the lore behind choosing your career path? So ultimately, this person works in a library, but they got through there by going to like a dungeon, becoming a dungeon master for like S&M stuff. I worry what you just heard was send me a $2,000 stimulus check. What I requested was abolish the IRS. Let's see. I'd like to think time travelers are real, but because they are not allowed to change the past, they give obscure hints that mean nothing to mess with us. This meme is from the future. You cannot understand it yet. The fire is upside down. Coronavirus is coming. I see messages of the future. Let's see. And it's 2013, man. It's a long time ago. Let's see. And I hate Mackenzie because he ruins the atmosphere. I hate Mackenzie because he's written dishonestly. We're not the same. It's the internet. Cloudflare. Yeah, just the one thing that keeps it all running. What's this? I don't do requests. That's odd. Usually the blood goes off the second floor. Let's see. Boy, you read my thoughts. You read my thoughts. You've got the Shining. You mean Shining? You want to be going to get sued? Get the shinning. Go crazy. Don't mind if I do. Why would I kill my family? They'd be much happier as ghosts. Oh, yeah, because he's the bartender from The Shining. What whacked out kid of yours keeps asking me to serve him alcohol? I ain't never hold no red rum. Sir, why did you ever stop to think that maybe it was going this what? That maybe it was doing this that cause what? Okay, hold on. Sir, did you ever stop to think that maybe it was doing this that caused the previous caretakers to go insane and murder their families? Perhaps. Tell you what, we come back and everyone's slaughtered. I owe you a Coke. Sounds good. It's like a good plan. What's the best way to cook these? Try putting them in the air fryer. Try putting them in the air fryer. There we go. We need more of this. Yeah, so there it is, Lady Midnight. It's that thing. And my artist literally sent me a picture of them finding the book. So, and then there's this. I think I'm safe from this because mine's obviously different. Because I'm Batman. It's you're just a kid. I just turned 16. Aren't you the old big guy? Aren't you old big guy? I'm 21. With an axe. His battle axe. Is it? No, it's just dumb. At least he knows. He's self-aware. And there's a Frank swinging from the noose. He's still alive though. He's fine. And suicide is badass. He's committed a suicide. Suicide is badass. All right, chat. We're gonna close the stream for a day. Thank you much everyone for joining me, and hopefully I'll find something cool to watch on Twitch later today. So have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone. Thank you much, Best Chat, for always being Best Chat. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Again, of course, next time.